so I gotta flex again. I wanna have no one around me that's flooding, so keep me away from that pessimist. They told me I signal new top, new floor at dinner, I'm checking the decks again. And I got hard like I'm rich and my money is wizard and I am a testament. Wonder how big is the picture, how deep is the mission, I give you an estimate. And how long you been, I ain't stacking a hex on the chain, I am a veteran. I'm betting on Hex.
G'day everybody, and welcome to the DeFi Down Under Happy Hour. Welcome to my old mate 43. How you going there, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How are you? What's happening?
Pretty good. Yeah, back from holidays, back at work, back at training. So yeah, back into the thick of things.
Awesome.
Did you get a good break?
Yeah, we're sort of still waiting for the kids to go back.
Yeah.
Back to school. We're hanging out for that. The Wi-Fi.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's
but
it.
Yeah, aside from that, it's been good. It's a beautiful day today. Today is
nice.
My perfect day is today. It's like
nice.
warm, but there's like a nice, like just cool breeze.
Awesome.
That just when it gets a little bit too warm, that breeze just sweeps through.
Yesterday was 40 degrees here Celsius, so last night was like quite nice. It was about 30 degrees at like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, ooh, it's quite nice. So but yeah, no, it's been good. We've been seeing some good pumpage in the charts.
What is, I haven't looked at it for I don't know, a little bit.
Yeah,
so
it went up like 50%.
1.65 cents, and the combined Hex with Hex Classic together is, I believe that is over 2 cents. So Hex on PulseChain and then Hex Classic on Ethereum is over 2 cents combined, which is fantastic. And I've come to a conclusion this week about Hex. I think that, you know how there was the narrative, there has been the narrative that Hex is a certificate of deposit.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that narrative has somewhat failed. And this is going to sound like people are going to say, oh, you're fighting. I'm not fighting. I'm certainly not fighting. Just hear me out, motherfuckers, before you start talking shit. Not you. I'm saying anyone who's listening is talking shit. Hear me the fuck out, please. Okay, I actually think that Hex as a self-managed pension fund,
right,
is actually like more. It fits what Hex is better than a certificate of deposit, because the thing about the certificate of deposit is that people are so tied to that being like dollar value. So and not many people are going to lock anything up for much longer than a year or two.
Sure.
You know, people are usually like, oh, this money, I've got this money, I'm probably not going to need it at least for a year. I'll lock it up for a year or two. So when they expect it, when they get it out, right, they expect the dollar value to be the same. And as you and I both know, in crypto, that's just not how things work. Like from 1 year to the next, you know, there can be like a 10x plus difference in price. So that sort of, in my opinion, that narrative over the years, it hasn't played out the way we thought. But that is neither here nor there, because you know, what did Bitcoin change narratives bloody 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Peer-to-peer currency, and then now it's the store of value. So
yeah. So what I believe it is, I believe that Hex is actually a superior pension plan than what your governments have got you contributing
it's a good
to.
way of looking at it.
Because it's really a very long-term view, and you know, that's the way this protocol was designed, as a long-term proposition that
You
you
zoom out.
lock away, and then you don't get to touch, or you don't touch it for like a long time. And that doesn't mean people can't. They can, you know, obviously you can buy Hex, you can trade it, you can do whatever you like with it, but it was built to be locked, so that you earn the yield in that token, and then you have access to it. Now, more than likely, I mean, I shouldn't say more than likely, because no one knows what the future holds, but in my opinion, I think that things will continue to over the long term go up, you know, in crypto in general. You know, I really think they will continue to go up, and that's just my opinion. It's not financial advice, but I can say that it forms a part of my pension plan, so to speak.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's a really good way of thinking about it. I just noticed Jexa's down here. What's up, Jexa?
I better get a mic over this way. Is that better?
Hey, here he is.
Hey, mate.
There you go, guys.
Rolls in. That's it. The last minute, doing an Ivan, mate. Just push the button and then just stream. What's up?
Yeah, that's it. I had a few spare moments. I thought I'd better jump on.
Yeah,
It's been a
sick,
while.
man.
I usually get around once a month, maybe now.
Yeah, that's wicked. Good to see you, man. I actually had a couple of questions for you, so I might be picking your brain later.
Yeah, go for it.
I
can't hang around too long. I'm going to have to dash, but I thought I had half an hour spare, so I thought I'd jump in and take it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So like there's been heaps happening in the news and everything. We've got obviously the Trump inauguration coming up on Monday. So that's going to be bullish for crypto as a whole. But I feel like, because of the whole SEC, I guess, change in direction, like there's some winds of change happening in the US at the moment. So with the new administration, maybe they're going to have a lighter touch with bureaucracy. We can only hope. And the red tape side of things. And that maybe this, Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy's Doge thing might sort of bring the SEC into line a little bit. Is kind of what I'm hoping. And it sounded like they might be dropping some cases, maybe not ones that include fraud, but certainly dropping some cases or pausing them at the very least.
I think with the ones that include fraud, they still need to look at those, because they're clearly, some of them are clearly not fraud. They're just chucking shit at the wall and seeing what will stick. And there's that whole thing that the judge, I'm not gonna I don't remember her name, but there was that whole thing where she was saying, well, even if you're alleging that RH has promised a blockchain, well, then he's delivered a blockchain, and it's a working blockchain, and people are happy with it. So where's the fraud? Like, the fraud is meant to be when you promise something and you don't deliver. So I think even she, with Auntie Carol or whatever that Somi calls her, shout out to Somi, that she had even indicated that maybe that was a bit of a reach, like a bit of a stretch to be alleging fraud. So even that jurisdiction might be, you could get some dismissal there next week, as early as next week. I think someone threw out some dates the other day, and it still seems like there's a bit of a runway there. If you're looking at the 90 days, I think that
Yeah.
blows us out into Feb sometime, I think.
Could be a big week. We'll get to see Gary Gensler get the sack, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, so, a lot of happy people on Twitter about that, isn't there?
Yeah, I think I'll be popping some champagne when the guzzler gets gets the ass.
They truly have been the worst I've ever seen. And maybe it's just because I pay more attention now.
No, they've got like 2% approval. Somebody was saying they've got 2% approval. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's an exaggeration.
Who are the brown noses that are the 2%? Jesus
yeah, it's
Christ.
just Gary just sitting there.
Yeah, Gary and his mates. Yeah. And be all the ones on the receiving end of all the bribes.
Oh, don't get me started, bro.
The Biden administration seemed to be just torching the place as they leave.
Yeah,
it just seems that they're throwing around Molotov cocktails as they leave the building.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're like on their way out. They were just going, well, because I think the XRP case, there was some partial dismissal or something of their case, and then they've only got a few days left, and then they just appealed it on the way out, which sort of seems like it's just being petty because the new administration might change it, and then they would have to withdraw that appeal. But it's just like being petty.
How many like financial commitments is the Biden administration making in this like 2-3 weeks of 2025? You would think that in the last like 2 or 3 weeks before like of the new year, it's holiday time, like you would think that they would just chill and let the new guys deal with everything. But no, they're just throwing all their mates as many bones as they can right now. And like, for example, a good example of it is they've said that they will, as far as I understand, cover a lot of expenses from the fires in LA, right? So LA is a very blue state. So they're really sort of pandering to, their constituents.
And they want to be chucking they want to be chucking a lot of money if they want to get those guys on side.
Yeah, there's a bit of pork barreling going on there. But I heard that it was only $700 or something they were giving to people affected. I'm like,
no, but they're all yes,
what
that's
are you buying
correct.
them lunch? Like, what are you?
But they're also going to be covering like private damage bills or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that in like where there were other natural disasters. Like they didn't do that in other states. So,
we get a lot of things wrong in Australia. One thing I think we get a little bit right is when there is a change of government, we go into a caretaker mode, and yet they can't sort of push a lot of shit through. It surprises me that the US doesn't have something like that, and they just allow that
seems logical, doesn't it? Yeah,
and all the executive orders that just get forced through. I can't believe that they're just pardoning known criminals and things like that. That's insane.
Well, they've got to, on their way out, use up all their privileges, it seems. But it's funny because when Trump will get in, he's going to just start throwing around executive orders left, right, and center as well. Hopefully get Ross Ulbricht out of jail and a few other things that he kind of intimated he was going to do. So, look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jex,
I just want to say hello.
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Question for Jex quickly. Did you hear my 2-minute rant at the beginning about that I think that for Hex, as far as Hex goes, the narrative of the certificate of deposit, I think, has failed? Did you hear what I said about that?
I heard the tail end of it. I didn't hear your first comment of what you think the narrative had changed to. Did you say that?
I think the narrative has changed to. I think what it actually is a better narrative and makes more sense. It's actually a bigger pie. Like there's a bigger pie worldwide. Is as a self-managed pension fund. I think that makes much more sense because it's a longer-term proposition, and there's more. You're more likely to be.
I think it can be both. I think it can be both. I don't think it has to be one or the other.
No,
so I'm gonna shit on the CD. I'm gonna shit on the CD narrative because it's had its time, and we thought that was going to be what it was.
Hang on,
And
Tick.
I'm
I
going
have
to
to
shit on
push
it
back a
because
little bit because
no,
you're
but
saying,
dude, we've had 3 years where if you invested and did a CD, a 1 year stake,
yeah.
your CD is in the red. Now you don't get that with a regular CD. So that
I
whole
agree,
thing
yeah.
has fallen over. In
But
my
why can't
opinion,
you do
right?
a 3-year or a 4-year CD, and then so you're timing the bull like cycles, like the 4-year cycle. You could do a stake for 3.5 years, so that way you're not, ending
Because
stake in the middle
I'll
of a
tell
bear
you what,
market.
because that's not how a CD works. A CD works that if you do a
traditional
short term, a traditional one, if you do a short term one, you're in the black. You're in profit after a month, after 6 months, after a year. You're in
Not
profit,
really.
right?
No, you're not.
Well,
You're
you are
getting,
in terms of what you are in terms of dollars, right? Which is what you pay your taxes in.
What
So
is up, True
you've
Blue?
covered inflation. That's all you've done. If you
I was going to say, are we talking
No,
inflation
you'd be
adjusted,
lucky.
or?
You would be lucky to cover inflation with a term deposit, right? With a CD, you'd be very lucky to cover inflation. But I guess what I'm saying is that there is no harm in the narrative not having worked out. Like there's the big deal. It's actually more. There's a bigger pie in the world for pension. Like there's more money that gets invested in pensions worldwide, like orders of magnitude more around the world.
Sure.
So it's not a big deal, and it makes
But
more sense anyway.
You got to be
a
little bit.
long term. It's a long term proposition, Hex. It's not a 1 or 2 year proposition. If you go into Hex with a 1 or 2 year proposition, just like I think you're risking, maybe not in the next couple of years, but you could be risking, risking big time if you need the money in 2 years and you lock it up, and then you come out 2 years later.
I think there's a bit of nuance there that you can unpack. So firstly, Bitcoin's a store of value yet has gone down massively every cycle. So you can't just say something can't be a store of value because it's gone down, or can't be a CD because it's gone down. So I think that's a bit of a nuanced thing there. And timing. So if you had started a 1 year stake 12 months ago or 2 years ago, you'll probably come out, if you went and brought the HEX, started a 2 year stake, you'll probably come out well in front by the time this market's finished. So you got to take into account all the timing. I don't give two shits whether it's a CD or what you call it. I think there's a big addressable market that can still flow into it. I think the tokenomics of it are still valid, and people are shitting on it at the moment. But when it gets up and runs, you watch people pile in to get the yield. That's going to be very valuable.
All I'm saying, I think, pretty much all I'm saying is that I think it's the narrative that it's more closely aligned to what a self-managed pension fund is. I think that makes more sense as to what it is, because it is really a longer term proposition than a shorter term proposition. It really is a 5, 10, 15 year proposition at minimum. I think if you come into Hex and you listen, if you put it this way, if you had a friend who came to you and asked you, hey, I want to invest in Hex, but just for 2 years. I want to I want to invest in this certificate of deposit for 2 years, and then I'm out. Okay, but I want to be sure that it's like, okay, no cryptos for sure, but you're going to tell them, look, in 2 years, it's like there's far less.
I would
of a
say
guarantee.
the context of this 4-year cycle makes a
I
difference,
think
right?
I think the pension fund.
Yeah, like that's a good. I like the analogy of the pension fund. My only pushback was just to say that they had to be mutually exclusive, like that you say it's not a CD, and I think they can be both. Like I think it can. I think maybe not in a traditional sense, like a CD, because I don't know enough about CDs. But I think you can do stakes for like 3 years.
I just think it's not that it can't be a CD. Just like it's not that Bitcoin can't be peer-to-peer cash. It can be peer-to-peer cash. It's just not very good at it.
Yeah,
that's the argument I'm making. After 5 years, we've had 5 years of like we can see after 5 years what's happened, and it's just not very good as a CD. But it's probably really good as a pension fund. People have been in for 5 years. It's really, really good, especially if you're staked. It's still really
I see what
good
you're
for those
saying.
people.
Yeah, I'm just presenting the other side of the argument, I guess. I'm not saying that I disagree, but I'm just saying that, you know, if the context of the 4-year cycle, if someone thought that they could keep it liquid and then they could sell the top, and then it turns out that they keep thinking it's going to make higher highs, but it's not. It's going down and down and down, and it's gone down like 85%. At that point, you might say, okay, I can sell the low, or I can just stake it for like 3 years, and then I'm going to earn yield in that time, and then I can try and sell the top again. You know, so
I agree.
From that point of view,
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying is that that's not very CD-like, right? And I think that's that's my point. My point is that it's not that you can't use it as a CD. You can. It's just not very CD-like in how it behaves. And I think that a longer term sort of as a self-managed pension fund, I think is a much better narrative. It's actually, and it's also actually a way bigger. It's also a way bigger market in the world, and it's something that when you tell people, they're already understanding that this is a longer term proposition. You know, and
I totally agree.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree with your time horizons, but that should be, if you're an investor, I think 5 years is the minimum sort of time you should be looking at most investments, whether it's property, development.
But we're in crypto.
That's
the uphill battle with people who are there in crypto. Everyone comes into it with a very short term. They're like almost everyone I've tried to onboard, or almost everyone I've ever, like noobs that I've told, I've said, hey, ideally, what would you like? And they're like, well, I'd like to put money in, and then in a year, I'd like to take out like $1 million. Yeah, like that is what everyone's dream is.
That's a disconnect from reality, though. Yes, you sometimes can get very lucky and do that, and if you time everything right, great, you might nail it. But I can tell you now from the experience that I have, and I work with probably a lot of older people that are in the space, they don't have a 1 year time horizon. They have 5-10 year time horizons. So it just depends who you're speaking to.
I reckon I agree that by the time we're all pensioner age, that we'll probably be at a good price to be able to sell at a profit. That's what I reckon. That's what I'm hoping for. So.
If we make it, True Blue. If we make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look, in some, okay, we could probably talk about that for a long time, but I just wanted to quickly say hello to the chat. G'day Duke of Booze, what is up? G'day Claz, what is up there? Sandip, only 700k buy pressure PulseX creates 700 grand. Okay, yeah, 20% pump. $3.5 million can do a 1x. Yeah, there you go. So there's not a lot of money needed or required to pump these coins up, as we've seen. Went up, I think, 50% in like the last 4 days. So that's the thing. If you're into Bitcoin or whatever, that's great. And if you've got enough money in it that you can take a 2x, then that's wicked. But if you're looking for better ROI, then you have to take on more risk, and then hence we look at these other assets. Who else we got here? Clintrons, what is up? How you going, bro? Jerry, the bottom's definitely in now, hey? Yeah, the bottom was in a while ago. This was just like we just went down 50%, and then
this was just the second cheek.
Yeah, second chance draw. So that's cool. Oh, Cabana's in the house.
Oh, look at it.
Does sound a little bit like 43. What is up? Yeah, I like Cabanas. I mean, obviously this channel sort of stole Cabana's whole theme, the happy hour. And he was on our first episode, but we really appreciate the support. So
he's got his own franchise.
That's right.
I would say inspired by.
Inspired, that's better. Yeah. I mean, it was just mainly because it was like Friday afternoons, and I was thinking, what do we, have a few drinks and just.
You wanted to drink beer while doing.
I really wanted to drink. That's why, and then that was what,
really sort of a justification for having a beer.
That's right. My functioning
happy
alcoholism.
Hour.
That's
It's
right.
actually not happy hour where I am yet.
Well, it's
Hex
not either here.
clipped.
It's halfway in the middle of the day where Dozza is.
Yeah, but when you've got Fridays off,
Early lunch.
you've got to
Yeah,
you've got to
somewhere.
start. That's right. It's 5 p.m. somewhere. That's the go. Late here, listening before I pass out. That's cool. All right. Well, try to soothe you to sleep here with some fiery debates with 43. They totally disrupt the incoming admin. Oh, so that was about the Trump thing. Yeah. Okay. Would like to hear Jex's thoughts on
conspiracies.
Yes, the current state of the RH ecosystem, including the P copy conspiracies. I like the P-wrapped BTC.
Well, they're all bound. If you look at, so you have a look at the Atropa system the other day.
Yep.
All the Atropa stuff went up roughly 20%, and you have a look at what all the P copies done as well.
It's crazy, and to
lockstep
see
with
that P-DAI is kind of like in lockstep with P-HEX as well. It's almost as if the Atropa guys have got some liquidity meshing kind of stuff going on where they're almost trying to take them.
After when RH took his firstborn out the back and shot it, that's the Atropa
Double
dev,
tap.
the Atropa dev brought an absolute buttload of EHEX and chucked it in a pool. So
but I was saying it was the P-DAI is the same price as P-HEX.
P-DAI. Okay, yeah.
It's like the same price that they're tracking.
Is it? I don't know if it still is. I know it was at one point.
It's pretty close. I mean, I can bring them up. But,
hey, that's actually pretty good speculation. Could the assault of a miner have been EHEX, like being assaulted? You know what I mean? Since they're claiming HEX as an actual entity, then
it could be.
You never know which way they can throw it.
Yeah. Not sure if I want to go down that path, but I can certainly bring up some charts if you wanted to have a quick look. I was going to show this Gary Gensler thing, which was basically it's him getting the ass, but we don't need to do that. So watch list. Let's have a look. We've got P-HEX price here is 1.672, and if I go to, I think the PRC20s, I've got Atropa DAI. If I just invert that.
That'll work. Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. Is that right? Oh, no, this price feed's wrong. So it actually says it up here. It's 0.03, but it says here the price is 002. So that's just Dex Screener getting some weird values. Sorry, hang on. I'm reading the wrong thing. Price down here. Oh, yeah, so 1.69 cents. So, yeah, Dex Screener's giving me some wild numbers up here. Mm-hmm. Just trying to ignore that. But the actual price is here, 1.69. So 1.69 versus 1.67. It's pretty close.
It is pretty close.
And it's not like it's been like look at these two charts. I'm just saying, like,
so do you think
the Atropa guys?
If you think Hex can get to $1, then there's no reason why P-DAI can't, and vice versa.
Yeah, but see, P-DAI has the ceiling in theory. Once it gets to $1, it just gets pegged and stays there forever. Whereas Hex can just keep going. So, and I guess the other thing is, you have to look at the ratios between, say, P-wrapped BTC and then the BTC price, like wrapped BTC, and then
I don't think that's the same. It's you watch P stables versus wrapped BTC, and they're those things are holding, or P tokens and wrapped BTC. Those ratios are holding equivalent to what is happening in the real world on those real assets.
Yeah, so the ratios between the P copies might be the same, but in terms of if P wrapped BTC, like the people's Bitcoin, got to the Bitcoin price, then like how many X's are you going to get from that versus how many X's are you going to get if P-DAI pegs to $1? So that's just sort of how I think about it. But
just have a look and see whether they may actually be in lockstep.
They could be. Yeah, it's just, I guess, at some point when these pools deviate, and then there's arbitrage between them to sort of and
what if they're
locking them together. There's points where you can optimize
try some
that.
on-stream maths. What's wrap BTC at the moment? P wrap BTC?
Let's have a look here. There's probably a way faster way of doing this. Like if I just went to maybe Go Pulse or something. And then I think if I just typed in like P wrapped BTC, yeah, because it's just Dex Screener has issues with the P copies. 1239.
So I'll say 1240 just for round numbers.
Yeah.
And what's P die?
P die. I think we just said it was 1.6 cents. So like 1.67 or something. Or 1.7 cents.
All right. You guys keep talking. I'll see if I can do some janky math in the background.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things you can look at with that, the PDI stuff. And I guess one of the things is that we talked about PDI when it was at its lows. True Blue, you remember that, like, because we were kind of saying there was a bit of a double top. I think it was on the daily. Or maybe it was the 4 hour, but we just noticed that it was the 4 hour. So we kind of noticed that it had done this double top and it didn't close above that resistance. And then we're like, ooh, and then it like tagged it again. And then so I thought, oh, hang on. And then it closed below the 20 MA. I was thinking, oh, this could be a bit of a downtrend. And then it pretty much went all the way down here. No one was talking about it. And we thought, well, you know what? That's the funny thing, isn't it? Everyone wants to throw it in your face when it's up here at 3.2 cents. But if you're buying it at like, 1.5 cents or whatever, then you're getting like twice as many. So maybe people, if they were bullish on it before, you can double your stack by buying it at the lows. So, and then now it's obviously gone up. Let's have a look here. In this time, 60%. And that's just one of the assets, I guess.
So what I was looking at is how many X's does PDI have before it hits the dollar? And it's about 58X. So then I times current P wrap BTC by the 58X.
Yes.
That only gets it to 72K.
Exactly. So there's more meat in the sandwich.
Yeah.
There's more meat in the sandwich for the people's Bitcoin. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But with the Trump pump coming in, do you reckon we might see the next leg up with Bitcoin going up to like, 130K or something like that, maybe?
Just quick round trip. What's your target for Bitcoin, a range, you think?
Oh, like, are we talking November next year or are we talking this year, sorry?
So call your top.
Oh, like 230K.
Yeah, I was going to say 220, 230.
Yeah. So when I first came into the market, I thought maybe 140, but now I've got a range sort of from 140 up to sort of 230 is where I'm sitting. Big range.
I reckon it'll be pretty hard to break 200. Like that's gonna take a lot. I think that's going to be it's a bit of a holding pattern.
It's a hard one when you're in price discovery because you don't have that resistance of the chart. But I basically just did it based on a fib, and I was kind of like saying that the 1.618 fib extension I think was sitting around this 94K, and then that was sort of support. I would say that's actually looking like it's hit it on support, and then so the next level up, the 2.61 is about 140. Might get rejected off that, so it might be sitting at around 130, and then you got 190 and 220. So anything in this range, but I'm kind of like saying that this is somewhere between sort of October, November this year is when I expect it to peak. But then there's also the whole 12 months after the halving in April, sort of March, April. So that's could be interesting.
What's your theory on that?
Well, it depends on whether you're talking, if you're just interested in BTC or whether you're going to talk about like ETH BTC, or one of the other metrics I've been looking at is like total 2 versus BTC. So we've been in this, downtrend. So total 2 versus BTC for some time, but it's kind of like the ETH BTC ratio of old.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It looks exactly the same as ETH.
But ETH BTC has actually been even worse than that. It's just been in this absolute downtrend for this whole time. And I suspect that a lot of the market share from ETH has actually gone to Solana. To some lesser extent, maybe some of the L2s and like Optimism, Arbitrum, and Base, but mainly Solana. I think people have just, and in denial that maybe a lot of it has actually gone to Solana. So you looking at maybe a Sol BTC ratio might be something to consider rather than just, I think historically we always considered the altcoin season starting when ETH BTC kicks off. But I think some of that market share has gone to Sol. You have to consider Sol BTC. And then that's why total 2 versus BTC makes more sense, because it's like everything but Bitcoin, including, it's not just ETH, it's like Sol as well.
Total 2 gets rid of ETH, doesn't it?
No, total 2 is just everything excluding Bitcoin. So
total 3 gets rid of ETH, I think.
Yeah. So that's why I do total 2 versus Bitcoin. And then, so I mean, even total 2 has been respecting like some of, like that was the all-time high from previous cycle, 1.6 trillion, and it just got rejected off that. So that was crazy. And then got support here as well. So it's amazing to think that, the whole market cap can still follow some of these basic support and resistance.
The others one, is that the one that, if you have a look at others, is that the one that hasn't got Bitcoin and ETH in it?
Others is everything outside the top 10. So, total market cap excluding top 10. Yeah. So it's everything outside of it. Yeah. So that's slightly different again. Somi likes others, and then the others BTC. But I feel like you have to consider some of these top 10 market caps, like XRP, for example, Sol. Like they're no joke when it comes to market cap. And you can argue the whole market cap vanity metric thing. I get it. You can just make a shit coin with like $1 billion market cap when there's no liquidity, but these things have liquidity. Like these, like XRP and Sol and stuff, like they have ridiculous amounts of liquidity. One thing I wanted to just correct slightly is that in the past, I've always assumed that this, on Dex Screener, that you have these chains were based on volume. That's what everyone had been saying.
Yeah.
That these based on volume. I don't think it is. So, because we were talking about this the other day, where we were saying, if you look like on a particular chain, and then just the way that they've been ranked, you've got these lightning bolts, which people pay for, but then you've got this trending thing. And then the trending talks about the way it's ranked is in terms of volume, liquidity, transactions, unique market makers, and holders. I suspect that that's what these chains are ranked in as well, because as a very basic level, if you look at just like 24-hour volume, PulseChain is sitting at like 30 million, which is good. But if you look at, say, Arbitrum, 722 million daily volume, and it's below it. So I think that might have been a misnomer, that we thought that this was ranked in terms of volume.
Right.
Not a big deal.
People not using Gecko Terminal for some of that as well?
I mean, DeFi Llama.
Yeah, I've been looking on DeFi Llama. We're at 19 at the moment on there with 22 million in the past 24 hours.
Oh, okay. So if you just go like chains, and then I suppose you just do it in terms of volume. Let's just have a look here.
If you go down to volumes in the left-hand bar.
Here? Oh, here
in
we
the
go.
left-hand bar, yeah.
Oh, I think I've just clicked on it here, and I've got, so yes, Solana, Ethereum, Base, BSC, Arbitrum, Sui, Avalanche. So yeah, so PulseChain is actually like 19 in terms of volume. So Dex Screener has been giving us this trending thing. So anyway, just a small
thing.
What's
going on Arbitrum that's got that much volume?
Wash trading.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not such a huge metric, to be just looking at volume, But I think even RH came out and said something about how we were like number 5 in volume, and then that's when it was like, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Anyway.
It's good to point that out, just so we're, because
Being
people
honest,
fire a
yeah.
lot of shots, and really.
Me as well.
really
I've said,
so
I've said that as well in the past, that I thought they were ranked in volume. So I just wanted to make sure that we're being, if we know for a fact that that's not how it's listed, then I just want to be honest about it.
We also need to know whether that's just on-chain volume as well. So Avalanche may be getting, or what was it, Arbitrum or whoever it was, maybe getting a lot of volume, but that's exchange volume as well. So you'd have to.
That's a good point. But Dex Screener, when I had Dex Screener up, they had, presumably that was the on-chain stuff. So like, let's say, for example, let's have a look here. If Arbitrum is sitting on, 750 million 24-hour volume, and then if you go to Arbitrum here, it's 722. So maybe it's 722 on chain, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no,
anyway, I just think it's important that we realize that Dex Screener is actually taking into account other metrics when in that side thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because it's implying that if what it's using is like how many unique holders, how many people are searching for it, it's like a metric of the community, like how many people are out there actually frothing over this thing. And for us to be playing with the some of the big boys with like in terms of dollars, and we're only got 30 million of volume, but we're way blowing away Arbitrum that's got 750 million, then that tells us something about our community as well. So I think I got a little bit distracted there. Sorry about that. But I think Jerry was saying about the P copies. Are you in the camp, Jexa, of P DAI to $1 because of this whole MakerDAO, like the P Maker vaults, like the collateralization, and then just forcing it to $1? Or are you thinking it just could go to $1, like just over time or something like that? Or what's your stance on it?
So we've obviously seen organic movement of that token. So people have pushed economic energy into it. That's why the chart looks the way it looks. So it's grinding up and acting like a chart that is building value in it. Obviously has pullbacks like everything else, but it is actually getting value into it. And whether that's just people buying into the memetics of it, that's fine as well. But I think the interesting thing is there are things that are going on chain to make the protocol work that in theory means that you can actually load up vaults and stabilize the price. Back when everything first launched, I was of the position that any stablecoin that came across was going to be pretty much worthless, particularly ones that had centralized issuers, so Circle and Tether and so forth. And that it will be interesting to see how they pan out. DAI, I put in the same bucket. I said, well, if DAI is underpinned by those two, then that's a problem for DAI on the chain. But a lot's changed since that initially happened, and all these moves that have happened where you can actually change what collateralizes it, that's interesting. That makes a big difference. So I've done a full 180 on that, where I'm going, okay, well, I'm seeing things happen that could facilitate it getting backed by assets. So you've got to, if you're being honest, you've got to look at that and go, okay, well, things are happening on chain. Things are moving that could actually get it to peg. So it's not now just about the meme side of it and the narrative. There's actually more tangible things that are backing it. So if you're not putting that in the consideration, I think you're being dishonest.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, that's interesting. The other thing I wanted to pick your brain on just very quickly is Brizology mentioned something. Shout out to Brizology.
He's in the chat too.
Recently. Oh, is he?
Yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
Briz? There he is. What's going on? Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything Brizology says, and I told you I had a bone to pick with him about our mate Tangent, and he just was pointing at a chart and saying these are tangent cells or whatever, and I was like, come on, bro, like that's not you can't just throw mud without actually having on-chain evidence and things like that. So I do disagree, but I think he has said some things which I do agree with. Certainly he's on the Hex on PulseChain wagon, sort of same as me. Not to say that I don't have EHEX as well, but he's certainly a big proponent of that. But one thing he mentioned the other day, which I actually thought was really interesting, and I had heard Jesse talk about it before from Power City. He was talking about how if people are wanting to exit via liquidations using the liquid loans vault sort of system, so having your collateralization level set where if you get liquidated, you lose, what is it, 10% or something like that.
Yeah.
So if there is a point in the bull market, and I mean, I had heard Jesse talk about this before, where he said you could almost think of it as like a stop loss, so that if the price goes down and then it just triggers your liquidation. And then I was thinking, that actually might be a really handy thing, for the bull market for people to, because if people are thinking of selling, I mean, the best way to do it obviously is through LP. And so you're not wrecking the chart, but this way I think as well wouldn't affect the chart.
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts on that. If you like that theory in the liquidity type protocol, so
yes,
liquid loans, then you probably might like the PDI option of that as well, if that becomes a thing. Right. Yeah, and that's probably a lot more controllable, and you can deal with what are they called? Redemptions in a different way as well. So you've got I like all of those protocols, and that's why I also start to like, if this is a thing with PDI and Maker, then that's pretty interesting.
So you're saying the maker, like the P maker contracts might be able to.
So same thing. You do your own personal vault. They work at 150% collateral ratio. So you're obviously taking a bigger hit. But you can do the same thing on there. On the liquidity type protocols, they're obviously a little bit more efficient because you can do it at 110%. Yep, so they're probably better from that perspective. Then you've also got to go, okay, well, what happens if everyone's doing that and getting given the stable coin of that particular platform, whether it's PDI, Liquid Loans version or Power Cities version, is there enough liquidity on that? Yeah, so if you've got to sell down that token, it depends what you're trying to do. But if you're trying to exit off chain and you've got a shorter time horizon, and if everyone's selling that token into a liquidity pool, it will depeg for sure.
It'll depeg. So then that's interesting as well, is that as more and more people start to do it, you might start to see some more depegs and then potentially mean reversions. So there's an arbitrage there as well. Yeah. But then also, does that mean when every time people are using liquidations to exit, like, would that mean that these loan tokens, or like, is it the earn token, like the equivalent in Power City for PLSX? Like if you take a loan against your PLSX or whatever, and then, you get the PXDC or whatever stablecoin, you've got that money. And then, so if the price goes up, then happy days. And then, you can pay off, you can change your collateralization ratio, you can do all sorts of things. But if you get liquidated, you wear that 10%. You probably would have worn that in like slippage anyway. But then the question, you retain those stable coins, which theoretically have enough liquidity to actually change into, USDC or whatever.
Either they have enough liquidity for you to immediately exit, or you have enough patience to sit there and let the market equalize again.
Yeah, you could put in a staggered limit orders or whatever.
Well, you can just hold your stables, is what I'm saying. You could hold them.
Yeah.
And if it depegs, there's natural mechanics in all of those protocols so that they get redeemed against them, whatever, and you can bring it back up to peg. So if you're impatient and you dump it straight away, then you're going to take that hit. But if you know that if you trust that you're in a stable that's going to get back to peg, then there's no issues there.
Yeah, that's it. And so there's opportunity there for people to buy those stable coins when they do depeg for that mean reversion thing they were saying. But also, like, so say you've got these earn or loan tokens, are they going to be accruing like PLS from all these liquidations? If a lot of people start to do this, will that mean that those tokens start to become more, start to pay out a better yield or whatever? Because, you know, if you stake your loan token, you get...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So the whole, across PulseChain, we've suffered from a lack of liquidity in most of the protocols that have launched, I believe. So we've all the protocols that got built were designed, okay, if let's say you came in at SAC price and it went up a little bit and then you started using the protocols, you're in a good place because you can actually extract some of that value. But if you've come in at SAC price and we're now below SAC, that's a pretty risky place to be.
Sure.
Taking on leverage and all that on those assets. So you've got to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really talking about right now as well. Like, although.
So that's what comes into earning yield on all of these platforms, because all the rewards tokens and things like that go on the volume and the flows through the protocol. So if those flows are suffering because everyone's not using the protocols because they haven't had experienced enough upside to make the most of them.
It's certainly something I think to consider. I mean, to play around with it when, you know, the prices aren't ridiculous and with small amounts of money maybe, and then think about that, you know, come November or whatever, there could be a few people using that a bit more.
Yeah, like if you can afford to open a vault now and be comfortable with it, you'll probably get maximum upside on the price going up. So that's one strategy. If you're trying to exit, the last thing you want to do is go into a vault at a high, at an all-time high of say Pulse, and think you're going to be able to protect your liquidations the whole way down, because we don't.
No. You would accept that you're getting liquidated.
Yeah, that's right. So
if you're using it.
Yeah, so use the protocol in the right way for the right time in the market. So now's probably a good time to take some leverage on it, because you would think there's upside.
Well, I don't recommend anyone ever do that, to actually take loans and then, you know, do the feedback loop thing, because then you can get some.
Yeah, but that's the same with LP and everything. Like, there's a time and place to be weighted a particular way in a particular pool, and it's the same with any of those protocols, whether it's PulseX or the loan protocols.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, cool, man. Thanks for explaining that. That's cool. We've also got Hexdelic here. What are we calculating? How many someone had on New Year's? Oh, that's funny. Come on now. Finbear, what is up, bro? Good to see you guys. McNuggets, Blobfish King. We've got some usual suspects here. Yes, we were talking about that. Thanks for reminding me of that, Briz. I appreciate that. KD, what is up? TD in the house. How you going, mate? And then, so this looks like what we were just saying. If you cash out 9%, market risk 50%, you can get your coins back plus have extra stables. Is that right? 90%, market crashes 50. Yeah, okay. Maybe the check the math.
Yeah.
I haven't had enough sleep to do that on the fly, but
I'll trust him on the maths, but I get in principle what he's saying.
Yep. That's the mean reversion thing. If that's what you want to do. Yeah. These are just ideas. Like, you do whatever you want with your own money. People figure it out yourself. Unlimited ability for OA to mint PDI. Yeah, that's interesting. What happens there? Because OA was already the largest DI holder at the time of the fork. So, but I don't really see why they would need to raise that level where they can print more. It's just a liquidity issue, because if the idea is that they would use these coins to pump RH assets, it's like, but how much liquidity is there? And if it's just selling down PDI, then people are not going to want to stay in it if it keeps like.
No, but you can sell. You're right. If you sell it down too much, then you can de-peg it.
DPEG it, yeah.
Yeah, so it just depends how much it comes down to confidence in can it hold a peg, because that's what a lot of things are.
Yeah.
Is confidence, but it's got to have the assets backing it up to say that it's going to maintain its peg.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Don't you guys perceive that as a risk of like the OA sticking all of the, say PHEX, PLS, PLSX, all of that stuff that they got copies over at the time of the fork, to then putting them into the PDI, like the P maker contracts into those vaults? Don't you perceive that to be some sort of contract risk?
Definitely, yeah. You are taking on contract risk to do that, and you are exposing those coins for sure. So if something goes pear-shaped and there's a hack or something like that, yeah, for sure. That's
just seems like an unnecessary risk for RH to take, also the OA to take, if they didn't create those contracts themselves.
Yeah.
But that's just me being like fudding. Yeah. So I probably should just because I think
if I'm trying to steelman that, you would say, okay, well, those contracts have been up and operational on each securing millions and billions of dollars. So
good point.
So I've got a question about that strategy of taking out one of these loans. So can someone just quickly explain to me, so you commit and I used to know this like a year ago, and I haven't looked at it for so just refresh my memory. You commit, let's say, Pulse, and you get USDL or whatever it's called.
So it doesn't have to be Pulse. Like, so there's equivalent. There's like, I think Flex.
There's other ones.
You can put your PHEX in and you get some equivalent, and then like you can put PLSX into the.
There's different protocols.
They're all
different
liquidity. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you need to over collateralize whatever you take out. So let's say you put in $110,000 or $11,000 worth of Pulse. You can take out at the maximum $10,000 worth of. Now, if the value of the Pulse drops below or hits that $11,000 mark or drops below it, you can get liquidated. Is that right?
If you take out a loan at 110%, you will get liquidated straight away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you take it out at 120, it drops down to 110.
Yes.
Because the price drops somewhat. And what? So you get liquidated. What is actually happening at that time? You've got your USDL, so
Stables.
You're cool. You've got that. You're happy with that. You eat the 10% or whatever it is. What happens at that point to the Pulse? Where is it going? What happens to it?
So someone recognizes that vault is risky, and it's probably bots doing it at this point.
Yes.
They trigger the liquidation event on one or more vaults. The Pulse that's sitting in that vault as collateral will pay off any debt that needs to be paid off. Liquidations come from the stability pool in those protocols.
Yes.
So the USDL or stablecoin sitting in the stability pool pays out the debt on that vault. The Pulse that was there as collateral gets given to the people that were in the stability pool. So that's why it doesn't impact the price chart, is because you've effectively distributed that Pulse that would have gotten sold. You've just distributed it to everyone's wallets to
lots of people. That goes to it doesn't just go to that one person who decides.
I think they get like a bounty, like they get like a small bounty, but most of it goes to the.
It would be in Pulse, because you've got to clear the vault debt.
What sort of percentage are we talking? Or I'm getting into specifics.
I think it's like I'm pretty sure it's either 0.5% or 1%. I think it's 0.5%. And then the
rest gets distributed to everyone else in the pool according to the percentage of the pool that they are.
Yeah. Correct. So if you stake like loan token or whatever, then whatever portion of that pool that you represent, then you get paid out like that amount.
That's different. That's a different thing.
Oh, is it?
So on liquidations, it's the stability pool stakers that get the rewards.
Yes.
On loan origination, that's loan stakers.
Yeah.
And on redemption, that's loan stakers.
Oh, okay. So how do you get
the
it?
reason I asked, I just want to finish this thread. The
Sure.
reason I asked that question is because I didn't know, or I've forgotten, like whether that pulse went to one entity who would then, like if it went to one entity, they might dump the price anyway. But if it gets distributed, then it's less likely that it's going to get like dumped. It's like they're just saying, oh well, that's just yield from me having that other token staked, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in theory, it doesn't
just for me
affect
to
the price,
understand it,
but yeah, those people who receive it could sell it, and then maybe it will still. Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. And look, it's just been a while since we looked into these things. It's good to refresher because it's like over a year ago that all came out.
I'm going to have to bounce. Sorry, cool. I was going to go on a bit more of a rant, but I need to be somewhere.
What's the rant? Just give us the too long didn't read version of the rant, and then maybe the next time you can tell us.
It was just more about how, like, the biggest thing in all markets, not just PulseChain, is the amount of liquidity you've got at the end of the day, so people can exit out and do things that they want to do.
Yes.
It's not unique to PulseChain. You could have a look at Ethereum and look at what the market cap is of Ether, and then run down the list and look at the market cap of every other project like Chainlink and every other thing that's on that chain, which would be running into hundreds of billions. It is running into hundreds of billions. If all of that liquidity needed to exit, there's no way in hell it would be there.
It's musical chairs. Yeah.
It's musical chairs. Every market's the same. PulseChain is going to be the same. Not everyone's going to be able to exit, but then not everyone wants to exit. That's how markets are formed.
Gotcha. And just before you go as well, Jaxa, can you just quickly show your Vouch.run validator pool thing?
Yeah. So if you're not already aware, so Vouch.run it's been up and running for maybe, I think I launched it in late October. I haven't really been out there pushing it hard on channels and things. I'm just happy for it to keep chugging along. But yeah, it's getting some really good uptake. I think we're up to around circa 3 mil TVLs in there. Got a whole bunch of validators still coming on board.
Awesome.
Heaps of people staking it. Just about to go into phase 2, which is the launch of the actual Vouch token. And that will be a bit of rocket fuel behind the protocol and give everyone ownership of it.
Sweet. All right. Yeah. Look forward to hearing about that again.
And Jexa, can I just throw in, like, right now, 32 million Pulse to run the validator individually is maybe $1,600 maybe a bit more. I would expect that your protocol, or this protocol Vouch, I would expect that as the price of Pulse goes up, it's going to be more of an option for people because as the price goes, let's say it 10x's, the price of Pulse 10x's from here. That's $16,000 to run a validator. Not everyone's going to want to invest that much in validating. They might just want to have exposure to it and go for and put in $3,000. And if that's what they wanted to do, then Vouch is the perfect option because it's basically allowing you to do a validate at a proportion that is that equal to what you're happy to spend.
Yeah, and you get
even more.
Sorry.
So as a validator, yeah, you're right. You can do less Pulse stake per validator because you use the pooled funds from everyone else to top it up. So if you don't have any interest in running a validator at all, then you want to be on the staking side of that, where you're paying the validators a small clip to run all those services for you. So that's the no-brainer way of being a validator or participating in the validator network without any technical expertise.
What's that clip? Just so that people know, what's that clip?
10% or something of your reward. So
okay.
You're basically getting 90%.
And you don't have to have any extra money to invest in hardware or anything like that.
No tech skills and so you're not paying hosting resources or having your servers. You don't need the tech knowledge to do that. Validators are sitting there behind that. And we may, like, we've got to, as we go, we might have to tweak those numbers, because you want validators to be hugely rewarded for providing those services, because it is, there's not too many of them out there that are doing it. We need more validators, to be honest. So yeah, that's sort of the next challenge. Next challenge is, how do we bring everyone in alignment and make sure everyone's that wants to be a staker is backing up the validators that are going to give them that yield. So that's always the nuance in putting all this together. So Vouch, from a concept, if you want to have an ownership stake in all the validators on PulseChain, or in a bunch of validators on PulseChain in the future, that's what that protocol is designed to do, is to everyone that's in that project will be by virtue of holding the tokens, will basically have a claim to the value of that network and that infrastructure that Vouch is. So that's the long-term plan.
Awesome.
That's
Thanks
cool.
for that. Cool, man. Well, we better let you go, but thanks for coming on, Jexer.
Yeah, I'll try and do it more often. I say that all the time.
Yeah,
I
man.
tend to get sidetracked.
We always appreciate you coming on, man. So it's good to chat to you.
Cool, guys.
See you, Jexer. Cheers, mate.
All right. Cheers, mate. Catch up. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Sweet. Yeah, so look, I think this week is going to be really exciting, with the inauguration on Monday, and this whole, Gary Gensler potentially getting fired or him resigning.
Taken to the rubbish dump of Washington or something, the trash can of Washington. Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious, man. Like, I think I've got a clip here that I'll play in a second, which is pretty funny. But yeah,
we missed Brizz's question.
Oh, what was it?
Oh,
what's the maximum amount of Pulse I can take out immediately without a multiple day hold? We'll have to ask. We'll ask. Good question. We'll ask Jexer, and hopefully before the end of this, we'll be able to get you an answer, mate.
Yeah. If anyone else knows as well in the chat, please let us know. And while I'm talking to the chat, please like and subscribe, and put the bell notifications, all that good stuff. I just wanted to show this really quickly so that I don't have to keep thinking about it, but also because I thought it was funny. This was just, the exit interview with Gary. So maybe give us a thumbs up if you can hear this.
Volatile asset, but
Cool.
with 7 billion people around the globe, 7 billion people want to trade it, just like we do have gold for 10,000 years. We have Bitcoin. It might be something else in the future as well.
Right.
These other thousands of projects need to show their use case and show that they actually have fundamentals underlying them, or they won't persist, Joe.
Oh my God,
And
you own
that's
Bitcoin.
where the public. That's
You must
that's
own
why
Bitcoin.
the
You
public
must
needs
own it now.
disclosure.
That's what it's.
I don't.
You love
I've
it.
never owned.
You love
I've
it.
never.
You love it. You
I've
don't
never-
like those other coins.
I've never owned any
No,
of
I know.
these, and I've been consistent
Okay.
for 7 or 8 years on this.
Well, now you can, because you won't be a SEC chair anymore.
If he doesn't own it, he's missing out. Good.
That was so funny. You love it.
Got
You've
smashed.
Bitcoin. And then he's like, I don't own it. And he goes, well, you can now because you won't be the SEC chair.
Yeah.
See you later. Get the fuck out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like,
Pretty
I
much.
just thought that was so funny. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a minor thing. But yeah, there's a lot of bullish stuff. Crypty Girl, I did a really interesting thing. I saw it on Reddit, but probably also on maybe it's on TikTok or something.
Yeah, it was
and she
good.
went through, did you see that? Where she went through all the bullish things about the RH case. And she was saying that RH's lawyers were this, like, I think Trump had appointed this ethics, I can't remember who it was, like an ethics advisor. And that was the same law firm as RH's lawyers. And it was also, Elon Musk's had the same lawyer when he defended himself against the SEC. So yeah, there was a few really bullish things. So definitely check out Crypty Girl's thing. I'll see if it's on her Twitter.
Yeah, it is. I can send you, if you look it up. Otherwise, I can send you the link.
Yeah. I mean, people can watch it in their own time, but I just thought I'll show her, because she's been really good with on the Hex Conference and things like this. So it's just at Crypto Girl. And then, yeah, I think she's done a few videos and things like that. I think it might have been this recap one. And she also has this crypto shop or whatever we talked about last week, which is like a merch thing. And then it made me think that there's actually another merch shop called, I think it's the PulseChain, or just PulseChainstore.com. So I wanted to be fair to be like, there's other merch shops as well, of course, and that check out some of these ones as well, because these guys have been supporting, the PulseChain community and stuff for a long time. So there's a few of these sorts of guys out there. So if you're looking for merch, check out one of those, two places. It was just like something that I thought of.
Crypto Girl has like a video on Twitter of like she's dancing to a song or something. You guys seen that?
I haven't seen it, but that sounds like likely.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
She was
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, she was talking in the she joined the chat last week on this stream, and she was talking about coming to Australia in the next few months and maybe trying to do a bit of a impromptu type meetup somewhere.
Awesome.
So I know not everyone will be able to go, but yeah, if it happens, obviously we'll talk about it. So
that's wicked. That would be cool. But yeah,
I was going to say
Eastern States.
I was going to say if you're a Hex woman and you're dancing, that is a good way to get like attention.
Exactly.
Like at least
we should
I think
encourage...
guys generally will stop and stop and look and just work out what's going on here. Why is she dancing? Why is she so happy?
It's like a helicopter. It's like a helicopter. When you see a helicopter and you're like, oh, helicopter. What's that doing? And you start staring at it for a while. What are you doing? You can't help but look at helicopter. Say, I don't know if that's just me, but
yeah, no, definitely.
Like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
But but definitely want to encourage the women in the Hex community. And then Class
you
is
guys
doing her
give a
stream.
disproportionate amount of attention when you if you're dancing or doing anything like that. Dudes are watching for sure. For fucking sure, dudes are watching, right? And that's getting attention, especially if you're like wearing a hex, like a hex top or something.
I feel like that's one of our strengths is the PulseChain community. Like there's so many women in the PulseChain community. And then because Klaus is doing a stream with the Hex ladies or PulseChain ladies tomorrow.
Yeah, she's back. That's so good.
Back. So she's given birth. I think it's only we've got 3 weeks old. She's only, probably more now. She's probably about a month old. And yeah, she's back. So yeah, check out Crypto Klaus's channel and support the ladies if you can, peeps, because I just feel like, as much as I can sit here and talk about, relayers and oracles and stuff like that, it's like people are just going to go, yeah, whatever. And then if there's a woman, it just gets so many more viewers. And that's one of our strengths. So we should play to it. We should encourage it. Anyway.
Yep, I agree. And I've got your back, man. I'm just putting the link for Klaus's stream in the chat right now for tomorrow. Cool. So everyone put the bell on that one.
Yep. And I think, I mean, there's probably heaps of other things here. But one other thing I just noticed as well, when we were talking about, I was going to chat to Jex about it, but so Fiat.io, it looks like they've got USDL, PXDC, and HEXDC in Fiat as well. So that's like a new thing. So and also there's this narrative that you can have stablecoin yield, I think is quite a powerful thing, because I know that even on PulseX you have those stablecoin pools that you can earn like pretty good yield on. But yeah, I noticed Tron had just come up with a some sort of oh, here it is.
Honestly, like I'll just butt in quickly. If you're at the top of the market and you believe that's the top, and you're going to hit the sell or take out a loan to potentially, purposely get liquidated or whatever it happens to be, I don't see why, unless you needed to cash out immediately, why you wouldn't jump into a stability pool or something like that while you're at the top there and everyone's swapping and buying in and out and stuff, because you're going to get huge rewards before the bear market comes, and then everyone jumps into those stability pools or stable LP pools, that sort of stuff. So at the top, I don't see why you wouldn't, instead of cashing out straight away and trying to get through exchanges that are probably shutting down and stuff, and putting things on hold. If you just jump into there and sit there for a while, it'd probably be a pretty good play to just make some rewards at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like some risk when it comes to stable coins that they can, you accept that risk when you're using some of these stable coins, particularly algorithmic stable coins. But yeah, it's certainly something to think about. I think that's a good point.
And they were talking, Jexer was saying, and you were saying about the fact that they can depeg and whatnot. But if you're confident in it or feeling confident, with that one in particular, and you go into a stability pool like on liquid loans, you can just be sitting there getting some rewards until it comes back to peg, and then you can do what you want to do. So
I think interesting.
Yeah,
and I think the idea that so Tron's doing this whole stablecoin USDD, and that you might be getting some sort of yield of 20% subsidized by TronDAO. I'm not quite sure how they're going to do that without how the TronDAO is going to pay that out. But interesting to think about, people already sort of thinking about like stablecoin yield. And I also wonder about, whether RH, if he created a wallet where they could incorporate some sort of stablecoin yield option within the wallet.
Yeah.
So that could be something that people could do in a bear market, particularly. But it also made me think, like with Phantom. So Solana's success has been somewhat attributed to the success of Phantom, I would say, because it's quite a good wallet and quite easy to use. But it is multi-chain. Like you can spin up all sorts of, like, you can even have a BTC address on there. But there's EVM chains you can swap between. So I think we should really try and push to get PulseChain on the Phantom wallet, because because if you think about it, like, people say the reason why Hex, can't get listed on a centralized exchange is because it's got this SEC stuff. Well, the counter to that is that Solana had the Wells notice as well from the SEC, and Sol is on every centralized exchange, and the price is pumped to the moon. So that argument that, the SEC case is what's prohibiting us from being on centralized exchanges doesn't really hold water.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so if you think, oh, well, people have a cry about, oh, it's too hard to bridge in and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, okay. But a lot of the Solana shitcoins that people have been aping into for the last couple of years, most of them are on Radium and Orca. They're on DEXs. So people figured out how to use those DEXs for when they wanted to, for Solana. And part of the reason why they were able to do it was because Phantom had in-wallet swaps and then just went straight to the DEXs and charged a fee. So if we had an equivalent wallet, like Internet Money Wallet, for example, that just simplified that process for noobs, then there's no reason why the bridge should be a sticking point for onboarding newbies, because they just go into their wallet like Phantom, and they just do a swap. Like you just swap whatever it is, ETH to Pulse, or ETH to, or Link to Hex or whatever, and it just takes care of it. Like,
yeah,
I feel like that's the simplest way to onboard new people, because you get this problem where you go, we need green candles, right? We want the price to go up. How do we do that? Well, we need more people. Oh, but the only way to get more people in is by getting green candles. So you get this catch-22 situation. So
more
it's
people
like,
or just the same amount with more numbers?
yeah. So I think that to get new people in, it's if you were targeting like experienced like crypto OGs, that's like they're not the people that you're trying to target. Like they can figure out the bridge. They know what they're doing. Like they know what's got. But what you're actually saying is you want retail, like you want noobs to come in, like more people to push the price up, and then you get that feedback of like then price goes up and then more people come in. So then you have to sort of cater to people who aren't necessarily proficient with bridging and things like that. So that's why I think the in-wallet swaps.
We're sort of assuming here that is how the only way that things can pump. Things can pump with a handful of whales coming in. You know, you can have 5 whales come in and they can pump the whole chain.
There's probably multiple ways. I'm just saying this is one way that you could get it to pump is by getting new people. And, you know, RH talking about in that Christmas thing about we just need more people, like more eyeballs. I feel like that's just like, that's what any community really wants. Like you want like a Metcalfe's law and all that sort of stuff. You just want to have a bigger user base. And then so if one of the roadblocks, like one of the bottlenecks is the bridge, then I feel like the in-wallet swaps, and I mean, is the answer. And I understand that there's fees associated with it, and I'm not recommending that for experienced users, but I feel like that's still a good way to encourage new people is the in-wallet swap. So we should be maybe championing, you know, Internet Money Wallet a bit more. And
I've been doing that for ages.
Yeah, I know you have, True Blue. You've been red hot on it. And
I reckon we definitely do need to. The in-wallet swaps are, you know, I think vital to what's going to happen, and I think it's good that you've mentioned it more like that, rather than like other ways, because that's the most simple way. I was going to ask a question about Staker app. Do you, like, you guys were around when that first came out, I'm assuming. Was that the easiest way to onboard people at that stage? Because it sounded like it was.
It wasn't for me because I never do crypto on my phone. So I've always done that where I just like, you know, I track wallets, you know, sure, but never used Staker app for that reason.
I think it was the easiest. I think it was for noobs, for most people who weren't already in crypto, it was definitely the easiest. Like in my mind, there's no doubt about it. That's why there were so many people who went into it. Now, whether or not those people staked, I think a lot of people use Staker app as just a way to visualize all their hex stakes, and see all the data in relation to that. And also see where they ranked, and it sort of gave you this feedback loop of wanting to increase your T-shares, you know. But I was always I always thought, you know, it was an option for people who like hardware wallets were not going to be a thing for them. Like they were just not, like if they were asking questions about the right click button, you know.
Yeah.
If you're asking questions about the right click button on the Windows PC, then you may not be the right person to use a hardware wallet. You know, you might just need something that's easy. And it was easy, but it's not an option anymore. And you know, it's a shame. It's a shame it's not an option, because I thought it was good, but you know, unfortunately, that came, like the Staker app happened before the fork.
Yeah.
So he sort of like maybe didn't anticipate that was going to be, probably going to be a thing. And then he had all this extra work he had to do for nothing, you know?
Yeah. So I reckon if that's the case, and because it sounds like a lot of people used to, you know, have a mate and say, I'll send you some ETH to get you started, get Staker app and jump on. So yeah, it'd be great if like Phantom Wallet could include PulseChain. And I think Hexologist is slowly trying to, you know, push that as well, like Dozza is. But Internet Money Wallet is like that new thing. It is so easy to set up and so easy to navigate while you're on there. And your onboards will just be able to, just use it so easily without getting confused. And then you can do your swaps from any chain, but it's only the native tokens that you can do the in-wallet swaps with. So you can't do like Hex on Ethereum and then swap that straight to Hex on PulseChain or something. You can only do ETH to Pulse and those sort of swaps. But it's got heaps of different chains. So I think, yeah, if you know you haven't used Internet Money Wallet yet, it'd be great to just give it a crack and have a look at it yourself and see how easy all of it is. And the mobile, just playing with very small amounts is there as well.
Yeah.
Bring that comment back up. So, sorry,
I got distracted. I was reading that. Remember the old days when they go were at HEXican, someone paid her in Hex. Good times. Yeah, she did a bunch of funny.
No, it wasn't someone. That was Unwrecked Pirate.
Unwrecked was
Pirate.
it? Unwrecked.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. She did a bunch of like intentionally cringe videos, which were hilarious. And it's like, you know, she's just saying really cringy things, but in like a funny way. But then sometimes people lose the context of it and they're like, oh my God, that's cringe. It's like she was doing that on purpose. Like she's actually was being pretty funny about it. And she knew exactly what she was doing. Like, so she's smart.
Where is that video? That's evergreen content.
Yeah. You should pull that out. And it's and whatever. If people have got TikToks or whatever, you know, that stuff stands the test of time.
There was a bit with the Pulse energy drinks as well. That was not too long ago.
Hot Pro did something with
Hot Pro,
yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, when the women, I don't want to sound like whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to be like creepy about it, but
no, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
Like it that shit works, man. That is like when it comes to marketing and at least attention. Like you in an attention economy, that shit gets people's attention. It really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
What is up, Maxi Cabby, in the chat here? Tetra staking on the 21st. I don't believe it, but I've heard a lot of 2 more weeks coming from Tetra. So, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'm looking forward to Tetra when it comes out. But staking, I actually wanted the stuff where you can like build different things because, I'm always like
automated systems.
Automated. Yeah.
That's what I remember it being about.
Oh, I was up last night. I was trying to figure out I'll talk to you about it another time, man. But you piqued my interest, 43, when you were talking about the 12th seed word being a checksum for the other 11 words. And I was like,
part of it, it's like there's a portion of, if it's a 12 or 24 word seed phrase, there's a different amount of binary that goes into that checksum. And it's not like the checksum can, for the first 11 words, you've got multiple options of checksum that it could be. It's not just one.
There's like, so if you've got a 12 word phrase, I think there's 16 possible words that could be that 12th word. And then, so it's like the amount of
all different seed
like
it doesn't mean that they're all the same. Like derived private keys will be different for each of those options. Sorry, go on.
It's just whether they meet the standard, like the BIP 39 sort of standard. And then, so they have like 128 bits of entropy. And then that last 4 bits is the checksum. But the thing is that I was looking into that because I was trying to do some script thing for that stupid DeFi puzzle thing. And then, it's just like, I like playing with puzzles and things like that. But I reckon that
this
Tetra
is what
thing
we were talking about last week.
Yeah, it was because you said it that made me think of it. That's why I was like, what's he on about? And then I looked it up and I went down this massive rabbit hole.
It's good. It's worth going down. It's worth going down. Like you've probably gone deeper than me because you've got the math side of it. But I got up to the part where you can work out what the checksum is using maths, what the different ones are. But it's like you sort of don't need to know any of that. What you were trying to do is like a specific case. Like you don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. What you were trying to do, you could just use tools. There are tools out there that you can just use.
I know. I shouldn't have tried to reinvent the wheel. I should have just used a tool for it because I thought it would be easy. And then, but anyway, I guess.
Do you want a shortcut way to get those options? So there's a tool in the Ian Coleman suite.
Ian
so
Coleman?
Obviously,
so
obviously, if you're using this, you've got to use it offline. My preference is to save it as a HTML on a USB in a folder in a USB, and then take that USB and use it on an offline computer, like something like Tails. I think Tails is perfect for this sort of shit, and that's totally offline. So you load up from your Tails USB using your regular PC, and then it's using the hardware, but it's booting off the USB.
Oh, look,
and
I was only doing it. Yeah, it wasn't to generate actual seeds.
It wasn't for anything. Yeah. But if you're like, most people would be using it, if they're going to use any of these tools, they're using it for their real stuff. So,
sure.
And I've heard people say like, oh, if you're typing it into the keyboard of your laptop, then, there is a chance that, and it's like,
keyloggers.
Man, but you're not going to have keyloggers in Tails, right? Because it's not even connected to the internet.
No. If you loaded it from a USB, operating system.
But I guess if you've got a nation state like trying to like work out, you've got bigger problems, man. Like if they're at that level of trying to like find your shit, that like they're still got access to your like computer through some module that somehow made its way into your computer that can like keylog while you're like loading up into Tails, then you've got bigger problems, man. Someone's like got access to your shit when you're not around. Like you've got bigger problems anyway. So I wouldn't be fussed about that too much. But yeah, then you can, from that USB, you can like access those HTMLs in the unsafe browser. They call it unsafe because it just will let you open up whatever you want it to open.
Sure.
And then you can access that all that stuff and play around. And there's a tool in there that allows you to find the missing word of a seed phrase, right? So and it will give you all the options. So if you just type in all the words apart from the last one, it will give you a list of options of all the checksum words that it could be.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to write a script for last night. Yeah.
Nice.
But anyway, I probably shouldn't try and reinvent the wheel, but it's just like, I thought it'd be easy. And then I was like,
you might be able to.
What?
I think I'm sure there's a way, and I could be wrong. You'd have to speak to a dev. Maybe Base Radiant can help out with this sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a way to turn a HTML into like an app image or something. Like,
ChatGPT would do all that stuff, man. Like,
probably. I don't know.
AI.
I had a look
AI
at
your life. Just got AI.
I had a look at that. I put it into AI and I looked at it and it's like, you know what? I think this is like still, regardless, it's still dev territory, like to me.
Yeah.
It
looks like Gensler answered Brizology's question. So it would depend on how much VPulse you have and how much you want to unstake. In the PLS pool has enough PLS sitting in it, you can take out everything you have. Okay, because I think that was from an earlier question anyway, from Briz.
Yeah, from Briz, yeah.
That's funny. It makes me wonder if 500 was the real brains of the old operation. Look, that's harsh because, but funny because the whole alti thing. Maybe that's not funny. That's actually pretty sad. What happened with the whole contract and getting all that stuff locked up. And he was going to maybe do a airdrop or something to some people. My concern with the alti thing was also, I think I mentioned before everything went pear-shaped, but by putting everything into that deposit pool, the pump pool or whatever it was called, that 97%, there wasn't any buy pressure. So that even though, I think he was saying that if those pumps weren't able to execute the pumps because he had some MEV bot protection in the code. That was the original reason I heard.
Yeah.
But I think even if you fix that, there's still an inherent problem of like price is literally just an equation of how many people buying in a liquidity pool versus how many people selling. So if there's no buy pressure, like it's still going to go down, right? So I'm still not quite sure. Like those pumps would have to be a lot bigger than what they were if he was going to do a version 2, I don't think it would just be the MEV bot protection thing that was in the code that was the problem. I think it's also just the sheer ratio of the pump pool versus the liquidity pool meant that the liquidity pool was way too shallow, and the pumps were not big enough. So,
and the pumps
anyway.
being smaller was also supposed to be, a benefit in a way to stop, bot arbitrage and that sort of stuff happening as well. So he mentioned that when he was on stream with us. Expect big pumps from it, just smaller ones over time. So anyway, hey,
that was it.
Yep, that
any
was
speculation? There's
he's wanting to.
Sorry,
he's wanting to go for. He tweeted the other day a couple of days ago about version 2. Look, I think it's going to be a tough road for anyone, at least in the sort of Hex Pulse ecosystem. It's going to be a tough road, like for anyone in that ecosystem. I don't think many people, like if they're airdropped anything, I think a lot of people will just want to extract value of what they've lost and probably cut their losses and get out. I could be wrong. I don't want to
no, that sounds about right.
A lot of effort, but having said that, look, if no one's in the Hex PulseChain community invests in his protocol, let's not for a second think that there's not enough economic energy on Ethereum through other people. Like if he can somehow get other people to that is good. That's what he should do. And if he can do that and then bring the protocol over to PulseChain when he's already got big economic mass and bring them over the PulseChain, that would be ideal, in my opinion. That would be great. But I think that a lot of people on PulseChain, like in the RH ecosystem, I think they're just like, you know what? It's and
the sentiment is poor.
I think
we have to wait and see.
I think Steph's a smart guy, man. Like I think he's a smart guy. You don't create have the idea and execute something like Staker app or even Alti, even though the tokenomics were flawed. You don't do that or you don't execute something like that without having skill or having and
I don't think it was malicious. No, that's the other thing. Is it seems like it's actually a genuine mistake. But then once you've proven to have made mistakes, it's it's hard for people to trust that again. So
well, the fact of the matter is that you're working with other people's money, and because it's other people's money, then the level of care that needs to be taken is so that's why things like the SEC exist. They exist because to force people to take care with other people's money, right? And I think that Steph tried really hard, and whatever he does, I wish him the best. I just don't think that he can see the Hex community or the PulseChain community as where a lot of his a lot of people will come and invest into Alti. I just don't think that. I think there's been too much. But I still wish him all the best if he can get more people onto something that works on Ethereum. I think that's good for him.
Look,
I wish the guy ill.
No, that's it. It's just I certainly always wish the best for people and all that sort of stuff. But you also can't ignore the sentiment as well. And like you say, if people are getting airdropped, then maybe they'll use that as just a way to recoup some costs. So you would have to really inspire people to trust the new version to then make it successful. So anyway, we don't know enough details, so I guess we'll wait and see. And it's everyone's choice whether they want to participate or not. So we'll see if people do or don't. But just wanted to quickly chat. Just wanted to bring up this comment from Briz. You could use Tetra to claim your PLS from Vouch. It moves at 50-50 into a stablecoin farm. The ink you earn gets put into vPulse to build your validator farm. Oof, I haven't had enough sleep. But yeah, it sounds interesting. I like that. I like the idea that you can automate some of this stuff with Tetra. So
yeah, getting anything automated to compound for you, it doesn't really matter in what way or what protocol, it would be great to be able to have that option now.
Yeah, and you are taking on contract risk by interacting with these things, because you've got to keep in mind that you're relying on the Tetra contract to then work with the Vouch contract, and then you're putting it into a stablecoin farm, and then you're getting the yield and you're putting it back in. Like, everything has to work flawlessly. Luckily, you can do this sort of thing on PulseChain with very low fees, like, because the gas is so cheap. You can play around with this sort of stuff, and even with small amounts of money, you can see whether it works or not, and it's not going to cost you a lot in terms of gas. So anyway, I think I may have triggered some people in the chat.
Comments from Physiology.
Squirrel.
Anything created nowadays and not launched on PulseChain, hard pass. How can I trust devs that don't want to protect their users from high gas fees? Fair call, man. That's fair call.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone's got opinions. That's cool. Like, I understand where he's coming from.
Yep.
Honestly,
when we spoke to him, I think that the reason he launched on Ethereum was because that's where some big Ethereum whales are. I think that's why he launched there. It wasn't about anything else apart from that. And then what's Red Squirrel said? Steph's treatment of Hedron community was pretty malicious. Fuck him. I would have liked to have seen in Staker app. I think it would have gone a long way to appease a lot of people in the community if Hedron claiming had been like available, or it would have been an option natively in there. I think that sort of put a lot of people offside, because Hedron was worth something back in the day. It was worth good. It was worth like a lot. So for it not to be claimable, I think pushed a lot of people's noses out of joint. And I could understand his angle though. His angle was like, okay, well, if I incorporate this, what's to stop the next guy coming along and creating something and expecting me to incorporate it, and then the next guy coming along and expecting me to incorporate it, and the next guy coming along? I can understand that, but at the same time, Hedron was worth a pretty penny. So it's
crazy,
tough on those guys.
People were just dumping Hedron as well, like just literally just killing that chart. Like, it wasn't just Steph, but like there was a lot of people that were just murdering the Hedron chart. So, but
you could claim it.
You could argue that Alex also made a mistake by giving people that 10x in the Hedron for the early claims. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
and you could get
wasn't a mistake for me, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're one of them that's been living for the last few years. Yeah, but that's it. A lot of people will say, "Oh no,
maybe a mistake for you, not for me." Yeah. I love that.
Well, yeah, exactly. But a lot of people treat it like a bloody just an income stream. It's like, but who was providing all the liquidity? Was it Alex? Like, at some point, that all that Hedron came from somewhere. Like, all the dollar value came from someone who provided liquidity for Hedron. So I suspect Alex has just been living off Alex for a long time.
If you're gonna talk, if some people are going to talk shit about the tokenomics of Steph's tokenomics, then you can equally throw out. Like, I don't want to talk shit about either of them. I think both of them are great, like, people in crypto. Like, maybe Steph is a bit like on the nose at the moment because of what has gone down, but like the tokenomics of Hedron, obviously, like, if it's what you're saying, they're flawed as well then, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of you could say that about a lot of things, I guess. But no, I'm not saying that necessarily. But interesting. People still quite heated on it. But there was one thing here that was interesting. Bultard said big red candle on Hex just now. So might be a bit of a buying opportunity if indeed Hex has gone down.
It sort of bounced back up pretty quickly. I had a look at that when he did that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. If I go on the 1 hour, yeah, it just wicked down. So that's cool. I mean, I kind of think of it in a bull market, dips are for buying. So, it's a different story if it was like in a bear, but in a bull, your dips are for buying. So that's just if you're thinking about buying some PHEX and you see a big dip like that, then you beauty. That's when you get to, or if you've got limit orders set, there's things like that as well. So
that was half, wasn't it?
Say again, sorry?
That was a dip and a half down to.
It was. Yeah. It wicked all the way down to 1.4 cents. So someone's just dumped a big bag, for whatever reason.
While we're on the Hex talk, did you guys see that good accounting of that 3.6 billion?
I did. Yes. I always wonder. I have my suspicions who does that. The accounting, but I'm not sure that's always the way to go. Like I was going to. Okay, let me just quickly say, this is the reason why that week has happened is because the liquidity is quite low. So we've got 25 million Hex on PulseChain here in dollars. But it's actually only 12.5 million each way, which is only 800 million Hex in the pool. So, Martin, this is the teller of stories here. The CFO, he said that the 8th of September, Hex reached its bottom price, 00369, whatever that was. There used to be a total of 2.2 billion coins in the liquidity pool. Today, price is up 350%, and the total coins in the LP around about 800 million. There is literally not much Hex in circulation. You'll find that on the way up. So the low liquidity helps pump the chart up, but it also means you do see things like this. So I don't think it's anything to worry about. It's just that's the price you pay for like a low liquidity asset. But your thing about whoever I don't know if I should say who I think it is who keeps doing it, but doing the good accounting on the OA's stakes that bleed out. There's two ways of thinking about that, because when it's bleeding out, I guess there's more, Hex getting paid out to the staker class. But when he does the good accounting, so it affects the share rate.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so you
it's a trade-off.
Bigger, so those shares come out of the pool if it gets good accounting, right? So that means that some other big player is going to get a lot more than they would have otherwise, because now they're occupying a bigger part than they were before. So there's a calculation. There's a calculation. Sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes it's not. But I think the person who did it actually claimed, because they did it, they claimed the com bonus.
The com, yes.
And they got the com bonus for it. So there was a reason for them to do it. They got paid out for doing it. So whether or not it was better off, it was it was worthwhile doing it or not, it really doesn't matter. But what it does, the effect of it is now that those shares come out of the pool, that means we all get a bigger proportion of a bigger proportion based on that.
Yeah, so and the price of a T-share goes up, right, as well, when it ends that stake. Then the share
price of a T. I don't know if the price of a T-share goes up because they haven't been minted.
Share rate.
It hasn't been minted. Because the yield is based on how many minted Hex, like how many Hex have ever been minted.
I thought that's what the good accounting did, though, is it ended the stake.
No, it takes the shares out of the pool of shares.
Oh, okay, but it doesn't actually pay it out to the person who staked.
At the end of at the time of maturity, the shares are still in the pool. They're just.
Oh, okay.
They're still in the pool.
So anyway, it's just, I guess, it affects.
Hang on, this is important
payout,
for people to understand. This is important that people understand. at the time when the
Yes.
stake ends, the shares are still in the pool, right? They're still in the pool. And they would, if it was not mature, if it had not matured yet, they would still get paid out their share in T-shares. But that share in T-shares is still there until it gets good accounting, but no one gets it. They're in the ether. They just don't get paid out. So it's like lost yield, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And yes, very serious show, having trouble cracking beers. We need you on here, Hexadelic, to show us how it's done.
There's Brizology. At least someone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and I think that's what I was saying as well. That the T-share payout goes up. The amount of Hex paid per T-share goes up. So yeah, that's good, I guess. But when they bleed out, yeah, it's a trade-off, I guess. Probably affects the big players.
Either way is good. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people who would do that, it's like usually it's a big player. It's worth their while. There's a reason for them to do it, you know.
I think whale
it's
was
also
lower.
helping.
Yeah.
It also helps a fellow whale. Like it's probably going to be a whale who does good accounting, but it also helps a fellow whale not bleed out. So that's
yeah. Don't buy that wick until Class gets a chance to, she says. So you have to wait for me to finish streaming so that she can buy that wick.
Yeah.
So yeah, just hold off, peeps.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, I guess, like, did you want to look at any other charts or anything before we wrap it up? Because there was a few.
I actually have to go, guys.
You got to disappear. That's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we can do a quick
awesome.
run through.
Cheers to everyone in the chat. Cheers to you guys. I'll see you next time.
No worries. Awesome. Thanks for your input and advice and stuff there. 43.
Catch you later, man.
Always appreciated.
No cool, worries, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Awesome. Have a good weekend, bro. See you, mate. Yeah. So yeah, that is a hectic week. So I wonder if there's any news that we should be privy to, but it's probably just, people like to sell as they do, and in a liquid asset, you see some volatility there.
Yep. I think every time there's a little bit of hype and a pump, someone sees it as a selling opportunity because they, until now they've been able to buy back a bit lower again. So probably just a trader. Yeah,
exactly. It's always going to happen. BTC is over 100 grand, so 101.7 at the moment. Still kind of rejected off this diagonal resistance here, but I feel like also sitting on support or bouncing off support. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting week. Whether we're going to see a sell the news, on the 20th from like a, people have been pricing in the Trump administration coming in, and I feel like there might be a little bit of an attempt to sell the news. But if you're looking in the big picture, I still feel like we've got a lot of way to go. So it's probably not such a big deal.
Yep.
And yeah, the sell the news things, I mean, that sort of happened when Trump won the election. People tried, and then people just absolutely pumped it. Like there was a massive pump. So I feel like we've had a bit of a pump going into, this is just the BTC USD. We've had a bit of a pump off this support here, but not really enough to sell the news. Like, if you know what I mean, like to sell the news, you would have to say that people are priced in like a massive, the Bitcoin strategic reserve. And then, I mean, you could argue maybe that's what this big move is.
Yeah.
but I feel like in the short term, we haven't really seen massive pumps enough to sell the news. So if we do see a sell the news, it might be a bit dampened by just all the buy pressure. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. So I guess it's like, 50-50, but
I think so.
Awesome. Yeah.
We were saying last
awesome
week on stream, like if anyone's selling at the price that, it was 7 days ago where there was a bit of a dip, if anyone's selling there, it's risky business because, it could really start to pump pretty quick. We just don't know right now. So,
yeah. And I'm kind of expecting us to move to that next level up, which is, so if you're looking on the fib lines, we were sort of saying the 2.618 is around about 140K. So that would be nice. I mean, maybe we see more consolidation and sort of on this support here, but it would be nice to try and test that 140K. I feel like that would be awesome. So
anything above the previous all-time high, like last cycle, I think is just good. At the moment, that's a good sentiment to be in anyway. But getting up there will be amazing.
Yeah, and Sol as well is sort of testing its all-time highs as well. So let's have a look here. This is Sol. It's around about 250. So it got rejected off it. You can see there. Yeah. And then now it's just sitting on support on this one here. Maybe if I zoom in a bit, you can see that better. Yeah, it's just sitting on that. So that's like a support there and here as well. So we're kind of going to make another run, I think, for Sol to bust through its all-time high again.
Nice.
I feel like that's interesting because how I was talking about how like the ETH BTC ratio, like as a metric of when does alt season really kick off, it's really been disappointing. Like the ETH BTC. So, but maybe Sol BTC starting to kick off would also be an indicator, and also the total 2 BTC. I feel like that was a bit of resistance there, and now we're sitting on sort of support. So if we can get over that 1.6 trillion, then for total 2, then that could be interesting. And also, this is the total 2 BTC. We're only just now on the weekly breaking above the 20-week simple moving average, and also starting to see the 10 above the 20, and then the price above both. So like that's like an important, thing that you want to see, because it hasn't been the case since November 2022. So it's only now just starting to peak above. I mean, it's had a couple of times it's attempted, and then got rejected. But you're sort of starting to see this trend reversal, I guess, which is an indication that alts are going to start to perform better.
Yeah.
And then I guess for me, like I just kind of look at, everything with respect to BTC. So we talked about ETH BTC, Sol BTC. This is SUI BTC is also looking good. XRP BTC is actually been doing really well. So this was the resistance from a few days ago. It just blasted straight through it. And this is also on the XRP. I think this is in light of the fact they might be getting an ETF. So here it is. This is the XRP in dollars, and it did the same thing. Like it just busted through this. And this is what I was talking about. We get the 10 above the 20, above the 50, and the price above both. So I can't believe it. I really thought XRP was just like dead and buried. And even when the SEC said that thing the other day about they were going to appeal the case, like they gave 0 fucks, and they just went, we'll just send the price anyway.
I reckon, I reckon it has some use case in the future, that's for sure. So that's probably why, there's the SEC can produce some FUD about it to maybe try and let others get in. But at the end of the day, it's going to come. So
yes. Look, I mean, there's a lot of XRP people out there. So let me know in the chat if there is any of those people out there. Part of the reason why I do this segment is because I want to get other people from other communities in as well to see, so it's like, I feel like that's a good way of doing it, is everyone likes to hear about their coins. And yeah, if you want to put a ticker in the chat, let me know as well. Happy to check it out. Like Pepe, for example, is not looking that great in terms of a trend. I mean, this is versus BTC as a ratio. AVAX just starting to bit of a recovery. Link is actually looking pretty good. I noticed that there was some talk about, it was, the World Liberty Finance.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, there was, I think someone was saying that the World Liberty Finance, if you look at it on Arkham, so this is the, Arkham, you can just look, you can track entities and things, you can put alerts on and stuff like that, you can track, which is kind of good for wallet watching. But this is Trump's World Liberty Fire thing. He has a bucket load of ETH, which is bullish, I guess, for ETH. There's $4 million worth of ETH.
Nice.
But he's also got nearly $2 million worth of Aave and 1.89 million of Link, and then BTC and some other junk. And keep in mind, people will like airdrop him, like send stuff to him. And I mean, this isn't actually Trump's wallet. This is the World Liberty Fire one as well. So, but interesting that they had Link and Aave. I just thought Trump's one is a bit more basic. I think it's just got Ethereum.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Link has been doing well versus BTC. Tron, not so much. BNB, not so much. Matic, I don't know what happened to Matic. I really thought that was going to perform well, but it hasn't.
Yeah, so it's dropped out.
Yeah. I mean, people forget, like from the Pico top, it's still down 38% against Bitcoin. Oh, hang on a tick. That mustn't be right, because I think it's way higher than that. Yeah, let's do this properly. From the absolute Pico top, it's down 92% versus BTC.
Goodness me.
So yeah, there you go. I knew it was a lot higher than that.
Yeah. What about Doge? What's that doing?
Doge, BTC is doing well. So yeah, Doge has been rocketing in dollar terms, but even against BTC, it's been doing well. So that's a good thing to see.
It's been rocketing. No pun intended. Nice.
yeah, that's it. No pun intended. That's it. So I think, I think Doge can hit $1. Like, people always sort of had this Doge to the moon, Doge to $1 sort of meme. I mean, why not? You get the Murad guys and everyone talking about these new, you got MOG. This is on the weekly, but this is MOG versus BTC. It looks pretty wrecked. Dog with hat, all these sort of things. I'm not seeing it really.
Have you seen
a new one?
A real out there one, and not saying to give it a crack, but it's something to look at. There's one called SBR, Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
On Ethereum. I sort of like it intrigues me in the way of a meme, because like the Trump one, everyone was it was getting pumped as Trump was, in the election and all that sort of stuff as that developed. And this one, as the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is sort of developing, it looks like it's got a bit of action. Just type in.
Let me just quickly. Yeah, I tried it on. It wasn't on TradingView, but let's have a look on DexScreener. Yeah, here it is.
I think the supply is like 21 million as well, or something.
Oh, interesting. And so, but the liquidity is only 1.9 million, but that's still a fair bit for a meme coin. So it's up 13% for the day. Yeah, like I feel like you can't discount memes, and some of these things, particularly Trump-themed ones, will probably dump on the election on the inauguration day. So you have to keep in mind that that's a full possibility that these things dump on the Monday. But until then, sometimes they can pump into it. So yeah, like people check it out at your own risk, but it's good to kind of at least know that they exist. Ethereum meme coins. There you go. I'll put it on the watch list.
The only
I
thing
think,
is, if you're playing with pocket money and you're doing ETH gas fees, that's why I don't like getting amongst much of this, because the gas fees just kill it.
yeah, that is the problem with Ethereum for sure. I mean, Marga, I actually thought this one was going to do well going into the inauguration. I mean, it kind of has, but it's still way below all-time highs. I feel like it's just, there's probably better memes. So on PulseChain, there's OMG, the Orange Man Good. That is a Tangang ticker. Also a little bit low compared to its all-time high. And we called a bit of a top on these ones as well. A lot of the Tangang ones have not done well of late, like HOA, but it is starting a bit of a reversal there. Let me just look at HOA because it's been a while. So this is on the daily. It's actually looking like a bit of a recovery. So I think we were talking about it probably a couple of weeks ago, and I think I was commenting on how the liquidity was super low.
Yeah.
So my screens are kind of not helping me here, but it looks like it's 8.8 grand worth of liquidity there on the buy side. So that's better than what it was. It was like 3.3 grand, and I was like, "Oh, this is not looking good." But I think Fast Abdul commented that like that maybe is a good time to buy when it looks like so bad.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was. So that's the thing. It's still got a fair bit of room to move. The one that I like, I think I've talked about, is the PTGC, which is the Grays one. Yep. Because these guys...
That has been flying.
Yeah, I mean, they had such an opportunity to sell. So this... that's on the 4 hour. There was quite an opportunity to sell. I feel like it was... I think I was talking about it here. And then I thought, look, this is going to go down. Like, this is it topping out. And then it just came back above the 20 MA. I mean, it was probably because Pulse was rallying, but it just went on another leg. And I was like, holy shit, like, let it run, like, let it ride. I think I had to buy back in. And then it went up. And I was like, God damn. And then I think I was just like, all right, well, now I'm kind of trust this community not to just cheat it to zero.
Yeah.
So, and then it did it again, and it would have like faked out a lot of people. Oh no, this was probably the Interpol FUD. So that's just because Pulse went down. So yeah, if you price it in terms of Pulse, it's actually been a pretty crazy good chart.
Yeah, it is nice.
So, that's just to say that you could, if you rotated some Pulse into it, and then when it broke this resistance that we were obviously talking about, it's gone up 1,400%. You could rotate back in and you'd get more Pulse.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
So there are opportunities there.
There's someone in the chat's mentioned Crow. I just put the link to the deck screener in the chat if you want it.
Please. Thank you. Let me just whip that up here.
He's saying it's an AI coin. I think it's on base.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I mean,
just keep in mind, everyone, this is the DGen hour.
The DGen hour. Yeah, that's right.
If you're only here for Hex or PulseChain, you can stay or you can log off.
You can make a cup of tea or whatever. But yeah, look, it is what it is. This is on base. It's probably one of these AI agent narratives, I think, versus virtual. So let me put it in so I've got a base meme coins like watch list, and I noticed there was one we talked about last week. I think it was with Ross Green, and because there was a lot of hype, people talking about AI agents and stuff like that, and I was like, what's this AI XBT? It's like a chatbot or something that effectively, and then someone said to check this out. Someone had talked about it, and then I had heard people talking about it on X. And so, I mean, this would have been a couple of weeks ago than when we were talking about it. So it's obviously pumped since then. This one I noticed was also pulled with this virtual. So I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, about base. I'm not an expert, but why is it priced in virtual? Because I thought it would just be like wrapped ETH, like on base, it would just be ETH, like wrapped ETH, WETH, but like on base. And if people are wondering how to do that, you just use PortalX, right? Like, so you can just go from Ethereum, just like you can go to PulseChain. You can just use, I think it's like PortalXswap.io, and then you just bridge like from Ethereum to PulseChain, Ethereum to base, and then you can trade it on Uniswap, like there's a thing down here or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. That's that one. But the Crow one, I haven't heard anything about it. So and it's so new that it's like it's hard to do TA on it. I guess if I was being, if I was attempting to, I would say that would be a nice resistance support. So it was resistance, went through it. If it comes down and retests it as support, then that's a good thing. But if it sells below it, then I would trigger like my sells.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So if there's any other meme coins, happy to check them out. There's so many. It's like, but really you want to go where the action is. I mean, PulseChain has been pumping this week. So this is like Tron, and those meme coins not doing much. Titan X, there seems like a bit of a bloodbath over here for some reason. Tangang haven't been terribly well. HOA I think is the pick of the bunch. Maybe Pika, I'd be interested to see, because that's like leverage on like Somi's personality, and obviously Somi's a legend. So over time that could be, the fact that it's down could be a good buying opportunity. Let's put Pika in terms of Pulse and just see what that looks like. Okay, so maybe you could argue that this is breaking a downtrend here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice.
So there's like that. So yeah, that sometimes when you see it breaking out of it, because that's obviously like a channel, like you could do a linear regression or something on that if you could be bothered. But yeah, that's obviously like a linear channel, and then now it seems to be busting out of it. So could be worth thinking about. What else? There's so many, like there's the Poke Center ones. I guess some of these ones have done quite well, if that's your thing. I still think the PRC20 narrative has got legs.
Yep.
And if you go by liquidity, you've got, PDI and PRAT BTC. If you go by volume, it's also the People's Bitcoin and a Tropa. So like these ones seem to be doing the best, but it's not to say that the P Maker, P Crow, some of these other ones might not. They might also do well. I would stay away from the other P stables like the PUSDT and PUSDC, because I still perceive them as having contract risk as like admin keys from the Ethereum side of coins, But that's just that's where I draw the line. But other people, depending on their risk profile, don't care about that. So, and feel free to, in the chat or in the comments, if you want me to look at coins or whatever, just put them in the comments. Happy to do a meme coin sort of thing at the end. And I think it's certainly worth going into the euphoria phase of 2025. It's certainly worth like keeping an eye on some of these things, because they're not long-term holds. They're not something that's like going to revolutionize finance or the way that you look at money or any of that stuff. They're just communities of memes, and they're people that are just throwing money at a chart, and it's like you can ride it for a short while and then get out. But to ignore them is also to leave money on the table. So it's just something that I like to keep abreast of, because there's nothing worse, I reckon, than when you see someone say, "Oh, did you see Dog with Hat did $1 million X or something like that?" And you're like, "No, I've never heard of that. Like, what is this Dog with Hat thing that you speak of?" And
That's
you sort of think, hang on, I am locked into crypto. I've been here this whole time. How did I not hear about this? And then you realize that it's something like 2 days old and it's already rugged, and you're like, and there was no liquidity.
That's
so then
right,
it makes you feel slightly better. But yeah, you just don't want to miss like certain things that you feel like, you should have been around for.
Speaking of degens,
look out, here he is. We must have said your name 3 times, Fast Abdul. And then
Beers.
That's
How's it
right.
going, guys?
Pretty good, man. I was actually just about to wrap it up, actually, but unless, I'll have a quick look and see what people do tend to look like these this segment when I ask for tickers.
hey, what about should we get Fast Abdul to let us know what's good farming at the moment on 2 fucks as part of the degen hour?
Yeah, that would be
Do
good.
some degen farming.
You can always bring it up.
Yeah,
if you want to
I'm
share your screen,
I'm going to just log in with a different account here because I got the multi-computer setup. And
Please do.
I will share my screen and I'll show you some farming deals.
Just log out of the Godwale wallet quickly.
Yep, of course.
Out of Red Squirrel's wallet.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I think Squirrel's busy today. Okay, so I just pulled up another screen here. Let me just get into my.
Yeah, I'll wait for you to pull it up,
account.
and then I'll see. I just also a couple of things. Yeah, choosing at least an AI coin as a lottery, good idea. They all seem a bit lacking. Agree. Yeah, FET, it doesn't really seem to be doing a lot. So let us know if there's any AI coins. I think that maybe we need something like that on PulseChain. Like I know Pateus had a bit of an AI themed DEX aggregator coin that they were talking about. But I feel like there should be some more AI stuff on PulseChain.
They're all kind of fake though. Like
it's all fake.
AI stuff. It's all like bullshit.
Yeah, it's all
like
fake. It's all fake AI.
Yeah.
No. Like, don't get me wrong. Like it's all a fugazi. Like the AI narrative is just a meme. Like people think that it's actually like AGI or something like that. Like it's not. It's just a chatbot or whatever. But people, buy into the narratives and they pump the price. And what we're here to do is to speculate and to try and read the temperature of the room and the market and to profit off said speculation. That's all it is. What's what any market is. And then, you could argue that it's a full change in technology, or you could just say it's just a meme like any other.
That's true. Hey, I see our favorite DJ Cryptomatic just jumped in, so you're just in time, DJ, to get amongst the meme coins, which I know you love.
It's probably the last thing he wants to see.
We're talking about Alti, we're talking about Zen.
Oh God,
all the good ones.
No, I don't think we did talk about Zen. That's a proper forever down coin.
I still harbor a little bit of hope for Zen. It's
really?
Well, sure. It's like it's got stuff going on many chains. And supposedly they're still building things. I'm not going in deep, but
look, it's the same thing but it's the same problem that I was saying with Alti earlier about the whole, if you don't have that buy pressure, then how does the price go up? Because it's so with Zen, people were never buying it on chain. They were only ever using the DApp to mint it, or the contracts to mint it. So then there was never any buying in any of the liquidity pools. So how did the price, and so of course it goes down.
No, but there's still like on Ethereum, there's I'm looking at $462,000 in liquidity in the main pool. So it's not nothing, right?
Yeah, that's true. Look,
and there's always the next thing, right? Like, you need to do this, and maybe we'll be able to do this. And there's always lots of hope attached to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2 more weeks. Whatever happened to that X1 chain that he was doing?
It's still in discussion. Jack still posts about it. I do follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, but that's 2 weeks too many, man. Like that's been a long time. I've heard.
Mayhaps, but we waited a long time for the PulseChain too.
I know,
I feel
but
like he's timing the market, right? Like, if he's going to do it, he's going to do it. Like,
bro, I can't do that again. I can't do that again. I can't go back to that. That's why I said, anyone that tells me something's coming out in 2 weeks, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So just wait till it's done and then show me. That's what I do. I don't tell people about what I'm about to do. I do it and then I show them. And I feel like that's the way that people should do it. Yeah. So Base coming second after Solana Index Screener was 5 billion TLL. So that's interesting that you mentioned that because I did mention earlier I don't think that this is actually a list of volume. So coming second after Solana on Dex Screener, because I always thought it was based on volume, but if you have a look at it, like, so the 24-hour volume here is 2 billion. And Ethereum, okay, maybe that's proving me wrong just here. Let's see if I can find, okay, so maybe that's not a great example. But yeah, if you look at, say, I think we talked about this. So Arbitrum had 700 million of volume, and then but PulseChain is above it, but with only 30 million of volume. So we always thought that this was based on volume, but it turns out it's actually this trending thing. I think that that's how it works. So
there's
coming
a nice
second,
sortable list on CoinGecko or Gecko Terminal rather.
Yeah, I feel like it's the DeFi Llama way is the proper way. So, but he's actually talking about TVL, so not volume. So maybe he's still spot on. But 5 billion. So PulseChain actually does really well in terms of TVL. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you go, so here we go. This is these are all the chains versus TVL. So Base is coming 6th in TVL. But PulseChain is 16th, it seems.
What does it show for the total TVL on PulseChain at 16?
681 million. So that's pretty crazy.
It can't be right though, because like I'm looking at Gecko Terminal and it ranks them based on TVL by DEX total value locked, right? And PulseChain is number 5 with 725,000. So I'm wondering what's missing from that number, right? That like it's in. This is just looking at DEX's PulseChain is number 5 for total value locked, not just PulseX, like all of them.
DEX's, yeah, but is that taking into account like liquid loans and other protocols? Because that might be the total value locked on chain, not on the DEX's.
Totally, but I'm thinking the DeFi Llama number was smaller than the number I just said, so it must not be taking into account something as well. Right?
Yeah, and it depends on when the day
hex stakes
starts.
Like, is that in that number? Right? Like,
true point. Good point. Like, yeah,
I feel like we're not getting the whole picture with these numbers.
True. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work to figure it out.
Cal's backed it up with the Filecoin pumping on Base. That's funny. I can't bring myself to buy that. Fetch AI, that's what thanks for answering that, True Blue. Yes, but yeah, g'day DJ. Sorry that we're always talking about meme coins when you come on, but if you go back to the start, we talked about Hex for ages.
And we did.
Love it.
No,
so
that's
that's cool.
All right, let's go play other fields and
let's pull that up. I'll just bring up some comments in the background, but let us know what's up with these two fucks pools. This is Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I thought I'd show you guys this first because it's just a good tool to see what's going on for farms on PulseChain. So Hocus Pocus has their farming wizard, which is what we're looking at here. And it's just like an aggregator. It just shows you like all the farms on PulseChain. Right now, it only shows the Master Chef fork copies. So that includes PulseX, 9-inch, and a number of others. are included in here. It doesn't show the balancer type pools like Fux and 2Fux, but they almost have that solved. I've been talking to their devs, and they're going to have Fux and 2Fux on here soon too. So
okay, cool.
Pretty soon it'll be just a place you can look to find out what farms are on PulseChain. So I'm quite happy with how it's going.
So is the idea with this that you can track all of your farms? Like, so if you log in with your portfolio or whatever, you can track multiple farms across multiple different platforms.
You can track them. You can also enter them via here. Like if I click this, it's going to take me to PulseX to deposit the funds and so on and so forth.
Or 9mm or whatever. So do different positions. You got one place that you can look at the different positions.
And you can actually harvest your farms here as well. So you can they have like a claim all button at the top here, and you can press that, and then you'll have multiple. You'll have to authorize it in your wallet as many times as you're claiming, but it is a lot easier than going to 5 different sites. Like if you want to be in 50 farms on PulseChain, Pulse is cheap, right? So like you're paying.
And if you're compounding that yield as well, and you sort of want to claim the yield on a daily basis and then put it back in, then it doesn't make sense to go to all these different platforms.
And it's not cheaper to do it this way, but it's faster, which is the thing, right?
Yeah.
And you have sorting options. So right now I have it sorted by APR. One quick note here: this is like an aggregator that pulls up all the farms that are these master chef forks, but it's not like, it doesn't say that they're safe, right? So just because it's here doesn't mean it's okay, right? Something like Pulse Latina was also a master chef fork and would have been here for a short period of time. So there's like, this is not an endorsement, it's just a list, right? So when we look at this, you have to look at like multiple things. Like I can see the highest paying farm, I have it served by TVL right now, is this one that has LUSD, like the copied LUSD against Pulse, and it's paying 5,000%. But
what's the liquidity?
Was like total, like, was a rug, right? Like it was an exploited token. Somebody got into the contract, like infinite minting. So I wouldn't touch that. And it only has 21 cents in it right here. Right. So like as soon as you put in $1, the APR is going to go down a lot.
Yeah. So can you rank those by liquidity?
Let's see. TVL. I think I can. Okay. This one's an error, but 52 million. So we're right up. We're at PulseX, right? We can see APR of
that's 9% for the liquidity. Yeah.
On the PulseX Pulse pool. And what's the best paying one on here? 48% Pulse to die. 48% USTC to Pulse. 52% USDT to Pulse is the best paying pool for PulseX right now, probably. But then you're paired with the stablecoin, so you're going to have a ton of impermanent loss if Pulse goes up.
I mean, that's the problem is, you can sort of use some of these pools to exit or even farms. I guess if you think that the price, if you start screenshotting your portfolio and you're like, holy crap, Pulse is like just done so well over the last, time frame, whatever, insert time frame here, then you go into one of those pools with some stables, and if the price keeps going up, then you're actually DCAing out into stables. So that's one way to do it.
Yep.
Like Gensler said, there's a time and a place for those pools. Like it would have been good to get into that pool at the start of PulseChain or at the launch of PulseChain, really, and then jump out of the pool. At the bottom would have been amazing if you could have.
Yeah, you'd have a big pile of stables and you'd have a big pile of Pulse, and you would have made a ton of yield, right? But if you had a crystal ball, you'd know that at the start, going into the farms with stable components would have been good. But nobody's got that crystal ball.
Exactly, we don't have that.
Oh, the ink yield was so juicy when it first started, man. It was so crazy because the cost of ink was so high as well. So I remember like getting the yield every day and just being like, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. If ink was $40 again, then like those farms would be paying outrageous percentages. Right now, 52%, and it's a high impermanent loss one. So not as good in my opinion.
Yeah. But that's cool that you've got this, the Hocus Pocus, I guess, is a single DApp or interface which shows all the different farms across all the different platforms.
And over on the left here, I pulled up the menu where I can say, just show me the 9-inch farms, right? So now I'm looking at the 9-inch farms. I have them sorted by TVL, and I can just see them this way. So we can see here their top farm is Pepe, which I believe would be the copy of Pepe to Pulse, paying 92%. That's pretty good for, like a meme coin farm, not bad. Now, the details here are important because we can see there's only $12,591 of liquidity in that. So if that doubles, then this 92% gets cut in half, right? It's going to be like 46%. Because all these master chef forks, they get diluted by volume, and that's what changes it, right? But like they do have some decent farms here with meme coins, and again with stables, they're paying high. BBC Access 50%, it's not bad.
So if you look at that PPepe, hang on, let me just quickly bring it up. I'll just bring this down and bring this one up. So this is PPepe versus Pulse in Pulse terms. So yeah, I guess like from here, if you were in this, then you wouldn't see much in permanent loss because over this period, there's not a lot of price deviation. But depending on where you are, that's when you start to see. So that's one way to do it, is just to plot the two assets in terms of each other. And then just look at how flat it is.
Depending on your timeline, right? Like a chart like that, if you're looking very short term, you're going to worry about, oh no, it went up or down. But if you're looking longer term, and I'd recommend a minimum of 3 months, generally speaking, with field farming, then you kind of want up and down as much as possible, as long as it ends about in the same place where it started, right? Sure. That's like sort of your ideal thing, because it's like, okay, unless you, in the end, you want more of one or the other, like maybe you're hoping for a dip in the price of Pepe, so you have more Pepe, right? And then you can pull your liquidity because you're like, oh, it's like I just bought Pepe, the Pepe price went down, my liquidity pair bought up the Pepe as the price went down, and now I have more Pepe. That's what I wanted. Then you pull your liquidity, and your loss becomes permanent. But you get to pick your time. But it going up and down is going to generate fees, and those fees are going to increase your token count on both sides of the pool potentially, right? So there's sort of an in between, but it really depends what you're looking at. And with the PulseX farms, they're not paying out the compounding to you, basically. They're all V1 farms that weren't paying that. You're just getting the yield and ink tokens, right? If you're in a V1 side of PulseX, there's no compounding. There's only the farming yield. But if with 9-inch or with fucks or 2 fucks, you're getting the compounding as well. So then that price action is good, right? As long as you, at the point where you exit, you're at like a plateau-ish to where you started, or everything went up together, which is the ultimate win. But let's get to the juicy stuff anyway. Let's look at some 2 fucks farms.
Hey, while you're doing that, did you know that that sell on Hex was 850K of Hex sold? That was a big one.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
43 just sent that through.
About an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, Class wants me to get off the computer so she can
she wants
buy the dip.
I'm
just joking. There's plenty of computers here she can use. I'm just joking.
It's only 3.63% down on the 24-hour. So I think it's not going to crash the chart.
That's it.
Yeah. But dips in a bull run, that's the thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're there for buying. And with the inauguration thing, I feel like we could be seeing some hefty price action coming up, particularly if we get a like Hex dismissal, like a partial dismissal. Then that could be juicy. But it could go the other way. There could be no partial dismissal, and there could be people pricing in a partial dismissal, and then it doesn't happen, and then the price dumps. So that's like you got to make your own decisions.
Yeah,
I feel good about the partial dismissal. It seems like the logical thing at this point, but not legal advice.
That's it.
Look, one of the things I guess is like, when you are interacting like with crypto, there's certain edges that you can have, and then I guess one of them is like a technological edge, like with your like the 2 fucks things. there might be some ways that you can use like feedback loops to increase your position. One of the other edges, I guess, is like an information asymmetry, where you might know something that you feel that you know something that the market hasn't priced in yet, and then that's like this with this hex dismissal. Then that's your edge, perceived edge that you can trade.
Yep.
And
there's always the cabal edge where you're like an insider of some type, so you know what's going to happen.
Sure. There's all sorts of edges. I mean, there's just like the community as an edge as well. Like if people thinking like a computer game or something, rather than spending their time, just playing a computer game, if you go on X and you start to shill and you start creating content and you start streaming and making videos and memes and all that sort of stuff, then the game is you're pumping your own bags.
Oh, for sure.
So when you see DJ doing the Twitch streams and all this sort of stuff, that's his edge, is that he is able to then pump his own bags through some other, and I think that's one of our strongest edges actually as a community, is that there's so many of us that do that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, we have 10,000 influencers in the PulseChain Hex community. We're all working it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the ladies are coming back tomorrow, so hopefully, we shall see. Check out Klaus's stream tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure I will. Yeah, I'll frequent the chat.
He'll probably be on there. He'll probably come dressed up as a girl.
Oh, it'll be early tomorrow morning our time, so I'm not sure what time. You might be asleep, bro. I don't know.
No, it'd be a good time for him, I reckon.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we're the ones that are doing the bad time.
For yeah. You guys are up to crazy time. I just happened to be up, and I just saw the tweet, so yeah, so I check it out. No, anyway, cool. Check out these juicy numbers here. We got APRs up to 202.9%.
Agreeable index.
Yeah, and this is a mix of it has 2 fucks and then it has 4 meme coins in it, which are part of the no permissions community. Nope is pretty high liquidity stuff. That's Randy Hilarski's. Vets is Vets in crypto. Yep is the counterpart to Nope, and Teve here is Scuba Steve. The dollar sign goes in front of it. So they're known but not huge, except for Nope is actually pretty huge. And there's a lot of.
What about SolidX? Is there a SolidX pool here?
Sure. Let's take a look.
Because I did like that when that came out. That was juicy. Tokens that don't suck. There you go.
Tokens that don't suck. This one is mainly the dark token. So that's X-ray, also known as Pulse Ray Vision. It's got dark token, a little bit of SolidX and Nope and Pulse and X token, but it's mostly about this dark token here. It's paying 110%. Okay. It's not bad. This one, though, is pretty hot, and it's got a bunch of money in it. Inc and SolidX 50-50 pair. Right?
But hang on a sec. Doesn't the Fire Whale sell his ink to buy SolidX?
That's the theory. He hasn't done it lately. But you have these things that if the price of ink goes up, then people, in my mind, would speculate he's going to sell his ink and buy SolidX, and they'll buy SolidX. And, so there's going to be, and if he does sell his ink, it's not so much that it would destroy the chart.
That's interesting. Because what you're trading there is the difference in the liquidities. Because if he sells $10 million of ink into a whatever $30 million pool, it wrecks the chart by X amount. But then you put $10 million into a $1 million SolidX pool, and then because it's low liquidity, it sends it through the roof. I mean, those are big numbers.
They're moving up and down and trading off each other, making fees, right? So like if he sold ink, it would probably touch this pool and pull down the price of SolidX a little bit, but it's selling ink against SolidX, and then other people would be buying SolidX to get in on it. So it ends up generating quite a bit more fees, right? And like it's just very incentivized too. So you have 70% APR. It's not terrible.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and we have other like themes like that. Things where here, PDI? What do I have? PDI parity pool. PDI against DAI from Ethereum, paying 164%. There could be some impermanent loss there, but 164%, makes you think about it.
Cool. And the Atropa Ascension looks interesting. Only 23% though APR, but
right now this one tends to have spurts where now the APR is calculated in a moment and obviously extrapolated throughout the year. This one will say 300% sometimes, just because like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tokens in the pool. So what is that? 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. It's the equivalent of 21 V2 liquidity pools because these all pair against each other. So the fees, if one of these things goes up or down a lot in a day and they're all pulling off each other, it makes outrageous fees. So some days this will say it's paying 300% just in swap fees. If you have 8 tokens in a pool, which is the maximum, it's the equivalent of 28 V2 pools. So I would call that a tech advantage.
Yeah, that's definitely a tech edge for sure.
Yeah. So
wow. Well, interesting. Cool. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks for showing us that, Fast Abdul. Much appreciated.
Just quickly bring up the Maxi Perps one and RH one, just so you know, the coins that people like and that sort of tend to trace the same chart.
Let's take a look. Okay, so there's a new Maxi farm. So I'm glad you asked. Okay, so we can see here E Maximus Perps. So these are all the ones from Ethereum, right? Paired against each other. Not all of them. I think the ones that were liquid enough. Paying 10%. Looks like it's going to go up to 37% in theory. Maximus Perps is only paying 7%, but these are all tokenized Hex stakes and with Hex. So it's kind of like an extra 7%. Not terrible. It's going up towards 11. Okay. The new one I just put in is this Hex parity maxi pool. And right now it's only paying 6%, but I think it's going to pay outrageous fees. Where are we at? Heading towards 108%. I'm just going to pull it up on Fux really quick because this is a brand new pool. So it hasn't had time to really transition to Fux yet. It takes about 2 weeks for the APR to roll over.
So that's got Ethereum and PulseChain maxi stakes or Maximus DAO.
Yeah. What I did is I took like Hex from Ethereum, Hex from PulseChain, Maxi from both chains, Deci from both chains, Lucky from both chains. Where is it?
Man, that's a lot of bridging. To get amongst them.
Well, most of the liquidity for those Maxi tokens is on the Pulse chain anyway. Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
So there's 8 tokens, so it's the equivalent of 28 pairs, right? In this one pair. Here we go. So on Fux right now, and this is going to move over to 2 Fux very shortly and actually pay more. So it's in the 80 to 194% range, which is 4.25% of swap fees. The rest is bonus farming. This pool charges a 3% fee, not to go into the pool. It's free to go into the pool, but when people swap through the pool, it's at a 3% line, right? Which means it won't get hit as much, but when it does get hit, it's going to take a lot more. And it only gets hit if it's the best deal, of course. So it's not predatory in any way. It's just like if this pool happens to have the best deal, then it will collect that 3%, which gets paid to the people who are in the pool in form of compounding, right? So right now, you could be making 80 to 194% on your Maximus DAO and Hex if you're willing to obviously take some impermanent loss, because these things are going to move up and down against each other dramatically, potentially, but maybe not. Maybe the Hex on both sides, Ethereum and PulseChain, moves up together from here on out. I can't.
I think Hex and Maxi, tend to track pretty well.
They do, but the 2 chains is the issue, right? We have
the 2 chains,
and we have Maxi on PulseChain. Will those track well from this point onwards, right? And they're all in equal quantity against each other. But 194% is better than the staking of Hex most of the time. So I think if you were in this pool for quite a while, I think you would probably it would probably kick ass. You'd end up with a lot of tokens, you'd end up with a lot of Hex, and you'd end up with insane APR. So
it's just the liquidity, I guess, is the concern with some of those the perpetuals. I know most of the liquidity is on Fux.
It is.
But it's the same with, the Hedron and Icosa and all those sorts of things. Pretty low liquidity.
They have a lot of liquidity on Fux as well, which means it's not visible on Dex Screener. You have to look on Gecko chart. But yeah,
I mean,
ICOSA has most of its liquidity here. So does Hedron, and definitely Maximus DAO tokens from both chains have most of their liquidity on Fux.
On Fux, so. Yeah. So I see. I like ICOSA and I like DESI, and it's like it, but the low liquidity has always been a bit of an issue because you do get a lot of slippage when you're just buying it on chain. But it's a lot better now. Probably that's thanks to Fux. But yeah, I think that's a lot of people's concern with buying these things is having the liquidity to sell it at a later stage.
With something like the Maximus DAO tokens that are all like hex equivalents, like tokenized hex stakes, like low liquidity, if you're farming with them, could be a good thing because it's going to get moved through potentially more to some degree. And if you can get a piece of that liquidity, so like just today I saw that the Lucky token was down 25%, like on I think from the Ethereum version on the PulseChain. So if I were to run in and buy that up, and then I could use that to enter a pool, I'd be one of the lucky few who got in at that price, and then it can bounce around in there, and I'm going to make a lot of fees as other people try to catch up. But you can always LP out of stuff, right? And if I feel good about LPing out of things, like you can do a V3 position on 9-inch or 9mm to LP out of stuff. That's true. It's a responsible way to do it, in my opinion.
Sure. Awesome.
Anyway,
well, that's great to keep up to date with that stuff. So appreciate you coming on and showing us around the traps. But we should probably wrap it up because we're sort of closing in on 3 hours, and I haven't had. We're starting to approach the total amount of sleep I've had in the last 24 hours. So,
and I've got to go watch some cricket with the kids. So
crucial, very important stuff.
Exactly,
family time.
No,
Get the beers out.
Very
nice. Good point. Is there a one-dayer on?
Nah, just the Big Bash, the 2020.
Oh, Big Bash, nice.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good one to watch with the kids because it doesn't go for too long and it's exciting, and all that. So
cool. Oh, and we got the What's that, man?
Oh, it's just cricket and exciting is usually not.
This is a very shortened version. It goes for the match goes for 2.5 hours. And there's there's incentives to go for big hits, and they put fielders in different spots where they can't go outside a certain part of the field and stuff like that. So it incentivizes excitement, basically.
Yeah, it's like like American baseball. People say that it just facilitates drinking. Like that's without if you weren't drinking, it would be really boring. But Big Bash, they have fire pots going off, and there's just everyone's just trying to smash hitting sixes, and it's so it's a bit more. It's not like a test match, but anyway, I actually like test cricket, but I don't really watch it. I just I watch for a little bit, and then I'll go to Bunnings, and then I'll watch a bit. It's like you don't sit there for 5 days, but you just sort of keep up to date with what's going on. It's like a little story that unfolds over 5 days. So I'm actually a fan of test cricket, but anyway, good to have you on, Fast Abdul. And I was just thinking, next week, is it because the Aussie Day is coming up? I feel like True Blue, we might have to get kitted out again,
I know
we did in the previous Aussie days, and full blown Australia Day tattoos and.
What does one wear on Aussie Day? Is there a traditional garb or?
100%. It's the national uniform. You got to wear shorts and a
singlet or
singlet. Yeah.
In Australia, they're also named a wife beater.
Yeah. You get it. Yeah, it's a bit not too PC these days, but and the double pluggers. That's
like a white undershirt, or when you say singlet, I think like a wrestling singlet, and I have one of those, but I'm not sure.
It's just more of a like an undershirt, but we just wear them around because it's hot as. So that's, and then some double pluggers. So that's your thongs.
Or flip flops. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what people call them elsewhere, but we call them thongs. But so then you get the old the hat with the corks out, like Sommy style, to keep the flies off you. and
Absolutely.
have a bit of a laugh. So hopefully we can do that.
Yep.
I don't think it falls on Australia Day this year, though. I was just looking at it.
Yeah,
It's
no, we'll
like-
have to talk about if we do it on the Friday or unless you want to stream on Australia Day, but we'll work that out.
Yeah. See how
You're
we
like,
go.
yeah, no.
Oh no, we could just postpone it to the Sunday or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, cool. See how we go. All good.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks, chat, and thanks True Blue, Fast Abdul for coming on, and of course Jexa 43. Really great to have those guys on. There's a lot of stuff there in the 3 hours. So go back and check it out, and like and subscribe if you can, please. And enjoy the weekend. Let's hope this Trump pump continues, and hopefully we see some fireworks over the next week.
Be very nice. Exactly. Now, have a good weekend. Cheers, Fast Abdul. See you, Doz.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, chat. Rock on.
Catch us later. Bye.
Cheers.